We'll just wait a little bit. It should be coming on soon. It says publish you. It's at 60% there. Then what I'll do is we just won't say nothing. I'll just... Okay. We are live. Let's see. Okay. Let me make sure this one here. Refresh the page. Live. What's going on, guys? What's happening? I like that. Kyle, I'm here instantly. And who do we have? Bam. Good friend. Jean Ward's in there. As promised. Yeah. Let me see. Well, let me see here. Let me make sure this is working on this end here. All right. Everybody hearing him as well? Want to make sure everything's working here.
Hello, everyone.
Let me see. I don't care about that right now. Let's see. Make sure everything's good here. I don't know why that's doing that, but okay. Okay, you're really low on there. Let me see here. Okay, you should be good now.
Great.
Had to hit one of the settings there. That's what the problem was. Okay. He should be good. Let's see.
Okay, how's the audio?
Oh. Okay, you should be good now.
Great.
Okay, so we're good. Everybody sounds good there. That's awesome.
Excellent.
All right. Let me turn this down a bit. All right, what's happening, guys? Let's see. Okay, Jean should be good now. What do you guys think? Everybody 5x5 or what? What do you guys think?
Right, audio check.
Let me see here.
Noodle says audio's okay, Chris.
Yeah, first he said it was low, so that's why I said I didn't have that setting. Just had to click it on. What it was is my mic was picking you up, so you sounded real low. And I said, that's right, I had it muted, so we should be good. And it should be right at the settings. You and I tested it earlier. Let me see.
Hey, I see Josh made it. That's cool.
Yeah. Miss Heard's in there. Mike Knapp's in there. Kyle's in there, and he is not a troll. Remember that, Kyle? Everybody's like, oh, he's a troll. No, he's not. He's a good guy. He's good. Coors is in there. What's going on, Coors? Just got here from my work on my way to home. Happy Friday. Levi says that. Just got here from work and on my way home.
What? Miss Heard says audio is low. Is it low on my end or Chris's end?
We should be good now.
Okay.
Architect Net says a 5x5. Audio's okay, pal. Anth Wallace says that. Yep, Kyle, you're right about that. It says looks like we have all the same people every time. One big happy lunar anomaly fans. And don't forget Mars, right?
Right. I think one of us need to team up, approach Elon and ask him to take us to Mars.
There you go. I like the way you think.
Yes. It's time, I think, Chris.
Okay, yeah, we should be pretty much the same as far as audio-wise, so that's good. What's going on, everyone? Happy Friday to everybody. And Jean and I finally got together, and it was like kind of hit and miss kind of thing because, you know, he's doing his thing and I'm doing my thing. And we finally got together and said, hey, why don't we get this together today and we'll do some audio checks and stuff like that. And so, bam, here we are.
Yep.
Let's see. Dale Rogers in there. It's quiet on this end, Chris. Pete Ferrero says, Chris, the new rover is landing in the crater. You're talking about Jazer, whatever the heck they call it. To the lake bed with the river and delta. Doesn't look like they're looking for intelligent life remains. I think they are, because here's the thing. If you're in an old lake bed, then there was at least microbial life, right? So we can almost guarantee that. I'm not sure what that name is, but the question was, do you think there was war on Mars? I believe there was. Now, there was either a war with someone else, or they pretty much killed themselves off. It could have been, who knows, some kind of accident with, like us, we'd have a huge nuclear power accident or something like that and, killed ourselves. Because remember, the planet is smaller than ours, right? It's a little bigger than half the size of Earth. So if we had a huge accident here on Earth and it was that size, we could almost probably annihilate ourselves. So that wouldn't be a good idea. But we don't know, right?
Chris, Dr. Brandenburg also did research using NASA data.
Yep.
And he determined from the isotopes in those readings that there were 2 huge nuclear explosions there in the northern mid-latitudes of Mars. And then we've got that huge scar running across the equator.
Yep.
I think it's the length of the United States.
Yeah.
And that too looks like an electric arc or something just scorched the surface. A tremendous energy there. And then the whole northern hemisphere is like slightly at a lower elevation than the southern hemisphere, and it's clean. I've tried to look for anomalies in the northern hemisphere, and it's almost impossible.
Mm-hmm.
Everything's down in the south. It looks like everything sort of got airborne, thrown up, and then it all landed, or I don't know, that's just my speculation. It all landed down there in the southern hemisphere.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean,
a couple of things I've found up in the northern hemisphere, like the blocks in Elysium Planitia, those are freaking intriguing, and they still sort of clumped together. They still interlocked next to one another, whereas in the south, all the megalithic blocks are all over the place. It's like everything got blown apart. And then there was a massive flood as well. Everything sort of tilted up. You can always see from the photographs, there's a shadow on the right-hand side. So it's rather weird, Chris.
Oh, yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we'll find out. And the few anomalies that are left over, I just hope SpaceX doesn't go and nuke the planet and destroys everything before we get there to do some research.
Yeah.
Because there's a link. I'm sure there's a link.
Mm-hmm. Oh, absolutely.
It's to us here on Earth.
Let me see.
If you look at that third phase of moon video that was just done a couple of days ago, you'll see that massive pyramid. I mean, it's got 4 sides.
Yeah.
The capstone's missing, just very similar to the pyramids there in Egypt. That Giza pyramid's capstone's missing. Who knows what? But yeah, I mean, that's very intriguing. And that pyramid's not small. It's 2.5 kilometers at the base. So, yeah. And then all the other artifacts too, Chris. I'm sure you agree with me that there's links. It looks like Mayan artifacts and Egyptian artifacts.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's almost like we have the new stuff and we have the old stuff, where it's like, like we have here a lot of modern day stuff, and then of course we have Egyptian and Mayan and all kinds of other ancient civilizations. I mean, go back to Lake Tepe. We've got all of these places, these ancient sites, but look at the technology we got today. So I don't think it would be unheard of to see both that kind of thing on Mars as well.
And it looks like they were similar to us, and then a smaller race seems to have survived after, because you found anomalies in your rover photographs that show very small artifacts, whereas mine show rather huge things, like the pregnant woman of the south, that big megalith in Lebanon.
Yeah,
it's 22 meters long by 4.5 by 4.5 meters, and the stuff you're finding is a lot smaller, like you can hold it in your hand like this.
Yeah.
And the structures there too look as if they could have accommodated smaller beings. So multiple races possibly, who knows?
Yeah. Oh, I totally agree.
And whether they're still alive or not, we don't know. But
I don't know. I'm
sure
kind of 50-50 about that, because the way I look at it is like, okay, if they're very small, like some people believe that they're very small Martians, then they probably couldn't do any damage to the rover or any of that sort. And maybe we found out that they were, maybe they couldn't protect themselves. Maybe this is the reason why for the demise. Maybe, another race went over, they killed them off. Or like I said, maybe they killed themselves off. But if they were people similar to our height, they could be, varying size, 1 or 2 feet in difference, either way. Then you would think, okay, they'd be big enough to literally want to kill this thing, meaning our rover. Because think about it. If we had something like that land on our planet and it's clearly not ours, what's the first thing we do to it? We'd want to see what it is, answer our questions, or we blow you to pieces. I mean, that would be pretty much it, right? Because, it's a probe, as far as I'm concerned. And if it landed on our planet, there's no way we would just, we'd try to take it for ourselves. And if we found it was hostile, we'd kill it off. So I think if there was anything on Mars, they would see that thing. If there was people on Mars, they'd see that. If they were our size, they'd try to kill it. You know what I mean? Break it or whatever.
Did you see that photograph of the rover Curiosity, where in the shadow it looks like a humanoid is working on it?
Yeah, I seen that.
Very weird. It's like those Opportunity and Spirit. No, what were those 2 rovers? Opportunity and Spirit rover. Hey?
Yeah.
Like those panels, they're full of dust, and when you look again, they're clean.
Yeah.
Shiny. Brand spanking new.
Well, they claimed this, like I said, it was the dust storms that cleared it off.
I know.
Which is a good possibility it could do that. Now, I'm saying, but why would it completely wipe it clean? Because if it's a dust storm, clearly there's going to be something still left on it. So, but they do have, they had an electrostatic charge that they would put over the top of these solar panels. So that would make sense that it would clean those off. But what about the rest of the rover? How did that get spiffy and clean? Unless, I don't remember if they said it was the whole body had like a skin that they could do it to, but they don't really need to do it to the rest of the rover. It's just the panels, right?
It's intriguing. It makes you question whether the whistleblowers that have come forward from the SSP, the so-called 20 and back, whether they use jump gate technology or the TR-3B or similar craft to get there. We don't know. Let's see what happens when the United Arab Emirates gets there now with their orbiter. I believe they've launched an orbiter. It won't be taking high-res photographs like the MRO with the high-res camera. I believe they're going to do something like 5 kilometers per pixel. So I don't think they'll really see any anomalies. But the other space agencies, the mainstream space agencies like NASA and the ESA, are under what I believe a lot of pressure.
Right.
Because how are they going to defend this? Because their mandate, according to one of the guys from NASA that was asked a question in the Congress, I think it was at some other hearing, this person asked them pertinently, is there evidence of life or life on Mars? And the guy said, not that he's aware of, because it's not in their mandate
to
look for artifacts. So they're totally focused only on geology and the atmosphere. So, and the magnetic.
To me, I've always thought it was crap, because it's like, if it's kind of like the moon. They said they went up there for rocks and all this other stuff, and they want to take samples back to Earth, and it makes perfect sense. However, if you were a space agency and you went up to the moon, and you now seen things that didn't belong on the moon, whether it be structures, spacecraft, or whatever, you're not going to say, we really don't care about the artifacts. We're just looking for more stones and rocks and so on. You know as well as I do, that's a bunch of crap. These guys are going to, they're going to do everything they can to exploit these things. They're going to go up there and they're going to rip these things apart, get as many photos or whatever. I've seen them where they literally took the head of the rover and literally broke some stone open with it. I'm like, why the heck would they do that? But this thing is pretty robust. You know what I mean? At the end of that arm, you got the whole turret. It's pretty robust. It's not some little wimpy little, kind of crane little thing. It's pretty solid. So, it's set up with a drill and all, and it's like a hammer drill to boot. So it's not a toy. So my thinking is the same thing with Mars. They're up there, and they said, listen, we know what's up there already. To me, we want to find microbial life was discovered back in 75 and 76. So to me, that's crap.
Like,
and
yes.
so now they already know this is just a PR move. With the the microbial BS. I think they're up there. It's a reconnaissance mission. They're up looking at any and all technology that was on an ancient civilization, and that's what they're there for. Kind of the same thing with the moon. What do you think about that? And what do you guys think about that?
And Chris, while you're reading the comments, remember the rover weighs almost a ton, if I can recall correctly, and it's got a laser on it.
Yeah.
So it's a weapon, especially if you're a small little creature about this big. It's
you blow it to pieces, yeah.
This is like a Trojan horse that's invading their sovereignty as Martians. It's weird. Yeah, so the next rover is on its way. I checked the launch.
So we got the Perseverance with the Ingenuity, which is the helicopter, and they said it's the smartest rover they ever sent there. Now, keep in mind, this is only going to be, the fourth rover, because we had 1997, we had the Sojourner, we had in 2004, rather. Well, it could be 24 if you want to call it that, but 2004, we had both Spirit and Opportunity, and then in 2012, we had the Curiosity. Now we have this one, and according to them, it should be there in 7 months. We're talking about February 18th of next year. So remember before it took 9 months to get there. Now it's 7 months to get there. Imagine that. So I think they can get there a lot faster if they really want to, and I think they got the technology to do it.
Well, Chris, I don't know if you noticed it or if it's only my imagination, but that rocket seemed to accelerate faster than anything else I've seen before. I don't know.
Yep.
It was like, what the hell? That thing's on steroids. Or did you also notice it?
Yeah.
It looked really fast.
Yeah.
So who knows? Maybe they've boosted it, a lot more efficient and whatever. And yeah, I don't know. The orbit probably plays a role in this as well. I don't know. Let's see. I hope they get there and they land successfully, because Jezero is a very interesting place.
Yeah.
I did look at some high-rise photographs at the took of Jezero, and Chris, I found what looked like long parallel lines with right angles intersecting. They look almost like roads.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain it. I don't know if you've seen that video of mine. I didn't find any blocks or megaliths or any weird things like that. I think they're going to find rather small anomalies again. They choose these sites because they don't have massive boulders, or what I classify some of them as megaliths. But anyway, they land there because the chances are lower that they might land on a boulder or something and the thing falls over.
Oh, yeah.
But hey, the stuff I've seen there is intriguing. I look forward to seeing what they find there.
Oh, absolutely. The let's see what we got for comments here. We'll take a break from that for a little bit. Alien Tendo, thank you very much for your support, man. It's always appreciated. You said, Chris, call us the Friday Club. Awesome people. I keep saying that all the time, guys. You guys rock. You guys are awesome. Nacho Libre's in there. Bruce Myers is in there. Mr. Gossam is in there. Let me see. Julian Blum, you said, I found a lot of Mars off of your YouTube channel, Mars Anomalies. My fave moon is Ganymede. Well, then you must have seen my Ganymede video, Julian. Insane stuff there. Once you bring it into 3D, it's absolutely totally different from what you'd see. Nacho Libre says, slap, hit, and tap that thumbs up button, guys. That's right, slam it. Yeah, we got, 131 people watching, 56 thumbs up. Oops, somebody's slipping. Let's see. Renee, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Whoop, I hate it when I move this thing down. It totally just went by everybody here. Miguel Enriquez, what's going on? Good to see you in there. Elaine Walls, how are you, Elaine? Josh D's in the house. Now, he said he might not make it, but I'm glad you did, Josh D. Mimi Reacts is in the house. Oh, yeah. Got all kinds of people. I have our normal crew right here. That's awesome. Let's see. Oh, okay, Julian, you said yes, you did. Okay, cool. Stephen Porter, you said, I really think as the Earth is billions of years old, intelligent species have come and gone due to a mass extinction, and it's our turn, but they could have been far more intelligent than us. What do you think about that, Jean?
Yeah, Chris. Okay, it's a pure speculation once again, but from what I've seen, there's similarities between the artifacts that I find here on Earth and those on Mars. There's direct comparisons you can make, and possibly whoever lives there might have inherited those structures, just like we might have inherited the structures. Yeah, I think there was an ancient race, a builder race, as they call them, that once populated the solar system, because we find anomalies on many of the asteroids as well. And I'm thinking of Bennu asteroid. I've had a look at the strange blocks and things that you get there as well. So, Chris, I don't know. Eh? It's all up to speculation.
Yeah. Well, it's all we really can do, right? I've said that a million times in my videos because, you know, even the things you find, it's like in your findings, you got these megalithic blocks and crazy looking things in there. Now, when you see blocks almost the same size, in fact, I just watched one of your videos where you had, it looked like, obviously it's aerial view because of satellite photos, but you had blocks that were very similar in size, like they had a purpose. They weren't just rocks, right? They weren't just blocks of just various different sizes. They were like the exact same size, and then there was other different size ones, and it makes you wonder, is this natural or is it not? Now, we can only speculate because we cannot go down there and fool with it and touch it and everything else. And that's what I tell everybody here on my channel, because I go, listen, we don't know what these things are, pure speculation, but we can differentiate the difference between something that's natural and something that looks intelligently made. We don't have to really know what it is. I mean, we just have to say, well, it appears to be this. So again, pure speculation. But we can all come to the conclusion that, okay, heck no, that's clearly not natural. So what else we got? Glenn Judd's in there. Says, good to see you there, brother. What's going on, Glenn? Good to see you. 786 Auto. He says, hello, everyone. What's going on there, 786 Auto? Good to see you there. Elaine Walls, thank you very much for your support. As always, you rock. Happy Friday. 10 for Chris and 10 for Jean. Fantastic hangout with the best people in the world. Totally agree.
Thanks.
Couldn't ask for finer people. I've always said that. Joss D, you said disclosure goes slow but steady now. It is basically confirmed UFOs are true and they have a craft. Mars will sadly be later, I fear. Well, here's the thing. Remember, they did say that. They mentioned that, I think it was the Pentagon saying this, that there were crafts from out of this world. So, yeah, I mean, if they really do actually say this, let's say now there's more than one person that confirms it, right? Okay, the crafts from not from this world. What does it imply? It implies that we're not alone. It also implies if these people, these aliens, whatever they are, can come from another solar system, why can't they come right here from our solar system? And they're just not going to say that. If you notice, like NASA, JPL, ESA, any of these will say, we're looking for life outside our solar system. Wait a minute. Why are you disregarding what's here in our own solar system? BS. I don't believe that. And I also believe that they may be actually coming from our solar system. And I believe there's life either on these moons, like Titan. I believe there's still life, even if it's only organics on Mars. There's still life one way or the other, okay? And they're lying to us. They're not disclosing the full truth. We're finding it through these photos.
Chris, there's another point that I can add to that. Ancient Aliens on the History Channel did something on Mars anomalies as well. And they interviewed Ellen Stofan. I think it's Dr. Ellen Stofan from NASA, chief scientist. And she said, we will find life within the next 10 years. How can she say it with so much certainty?
Yep, absolutely. I said the same thing. But is she talking about microbial, though? Because clearly she's probably not talking about actual life like you and I.
Even if it's microbial, it will be earth-shattering news.
Oh, absolutely. And, I said this, this is funny. Let's see. Let me see if I can get this here. I'm probably going to cover you up there for a minute, but I want you guys to see this. This is really interesting. me go to here. This is, you're going to love this because this is, and of course I'll share the links with all you guys. You guys know that. But let me see here. The Sounds of Mars. NASA's Perseverance rover packs microphones to hear the red planet. Now let me read this here because this is pretty. This is pretty interesting. You can see the little blue ring here. It's on the side of the rover, the body, and what it is, it's actually on the leg. It looks like it appears to be on the legs of this thing, and of course you get 3 wheels per side. But this is what it says. Of course, it says Perseverance will land on, and it says right here, land on February 18, 2021. Let's see. I want to get to the 2 microphones attached to Perseverance means that when the rover arrives, it will be able to hear Mars, not just see, touch, and taste, chemically analyzed. It is as predecessors have done, or it as its predecessors. Now, this is where it gets funny. One of the mics will fly on Perseverance entry, descent, and landing, or the EDL system. Engineers will listen to... I'm sorry. Let me make this a little bit bigger here because that's way up here in the top. Engineers will listen in as Perseverance pops its parachutes in a thin atmosphere of Mars, while precisely targeting where it wants to alight on the surface. Now, this is where it gets funny. The brains of the EDL mic are safely nestled in the body of the rover. Communication with the air on the side of the rover's body. The air will listen to the wind and dust rushing by during the perilous landing process and may hear atmospheric friction that the spacecraft experiences, which I think is total crap. Why would you do that? It's like sticking a microphone out your damn window while you're driving. Now, this is where it gets funny. But this microphone will likely be short-lived. Now, according to a NASA document, because it was made by typical store-bought hardware. So let me get this right. You spend billions of dollars to put this rover together. Okay, this says it right there, black and white. Billions of dollars to send this highly tech, most sophisticated machine we can ever send to a planet. But let's put it together with, Radio Shack shit pots. I mean, I'm just dumbfounded that they would say that. Now, don't get me wrong, there's more than one. It says the Perseverance team expects the EDL mic will only hear the landing itself, although it may hear the wind and pick up some rover noises like turning wheels, motors, and heat pumps, if it does survive the difficult descent. The second microphone is part of the SuperCam system, which will shoot a laser, which does come out of the mass cam. The same thing with Curiosity. At the rocks to penetrate them and examine their composition. One of the SuperCam's goals is to identify organic compounds that could be related to past life on Mars, making the instrument essential to Perseverance's larger aim to figure out how habitable Mars was for microbes in the ancient past. What I find interesting about that I'll give you guys a link because it goes on. What I find interesting is okay, let me understand this. So it's almost like they're saying, if you guys ever think we're going to stop the rover, in other words, we're just going to stop it in motion, we're not going to use any of the instruments, we're just going to let you hear simple air noise, forget about it. You're not going to hear that. Is that what you got out of that too, or is there something else I'm missing?
That's my interpretation. No, but then, I don't know, Chris, why don't they have a cover of sorts over the audio and microphone equipment, and once they've landed, they open it, just like they do with the lenses on the camera? Why would they use the microphone to listen to the landing? That's weird. It's just, I don't understand what that's for. And anyway, InSight Lander, through its seismic instruments, can listen to the wind, of course the tremors, but I mean, it's so sensitive that the wind that blows against the machine itself, they can actually convert that to audio. So very low frequency sounds on Mars. So I don't know. It'll be like you go outside with your cell phone and the wind's blowing, it'll go. I don't know what they want to hear. I mean, if there's birds or anything, water, maybe that's what they want to listen to. I don't know.
Well, that would be my guess. It's going to be more natural sounds. It's not going to be with the smoke they're trying to blow up everybody's rear end. I think it's crap. I think that they're actually going to be listening for sounds. And I said this a long time ago. I said, what's the point, even during the Viking lander, I could kind of understand because it was kind of low tech compared to what we have now. But I'm saying to myself, I said, wait a minute. First two instruments you put on anything going to another planet would be eyes and ears. That would make common sense to me. I don't care if you didn't put another thing on that lander, but they had spectrum analyzer. They had all that kind of stuff on there. So to me, they already knew. Even scientists argued their point. They knew they already knew the compound of the soil back in the day, and they already found microbial life back then. And of course, it's up for debate. In other words, some scientists say, you know, they've red flagged it. No, sir, that's not the truth, blah, 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 blah. I don't think that's the case at all. I think they knew that, and now they're still trying to use that same story. Well, we're trying to really try to find microbial life because we know it's there somewhere, and I just find that totally bogus. I don't believe that's true. I think they know exactly what they're looking for, and I know why they're there. And, you know, it's sad. Miss Heard, thank you very much for your support. You said 5 to Chris, 5 to Jean. Thank you very much, as always. And again...
Hello, thanks.
And again, thank you. Actually, all the support. Elaine. Definitely you guys rock and roll there. You know, it's like... Let me see something here. Let me just make sure here.
I see Bill Gates says,
yep.
NASA doesn't lie. They told me so.
Photography like magic. He said, that's what I expect from NASA, these F-wits. Yeah, I mean... You know, like I said, I love NASA. I love everything about NASA except for the deception, which is huge. I don't have any problem with technologies. It's being, you know, then it comes down to us at some point in a different form or whatever. You know, wanting to be spacefaring, the whole 9 yards. But stop with the crap already, you know? Yeah, Elaine, you said exactly what I was going to say. You said Radio Shack crap parts? Yup. You know, why would you? And you've seen it right there in black and white. Oh, that may not last because they're just kind of like run-of-the-mill crap parts. Again, why would they go through the trouble of doing that and just put crappy mics? I think there's a lot more studies they're going to do with it. Or it's just simply to listen to, like you said, maybe running water. It might be, you know, it could be anything, like you're saying, birds, bugs, could be flying around the microphone. Who the heck knows? And I think that's more the reason why they're putting these things on and not what they claim, what they're trying to tell us they're going to use it for.
That sounds like a CYA statement saying that the camera might not last long. So it's still perfectly operational, but the general public doesn't need to know that.
Right.
I'm just speculating.
Mm-hmm. I totally agree. There's a head, let me see. HSauce1AV, you said, as an AV, or Audio Video Pro, I have some ideas. I think you and I both do. Let me see. Stefan, you said if we had a mad extinction now, millions of years time, what would be left of our civilization? Not a lot, and whatever evolved species would think the same as us as we are over Mars. And here's the thing. This is what makes me believe that this catastrophic event was not all that long ago. Because you guys ever see that show, what was it, Life After Man? Now, that was an interesting show. They used to have it, I think, on History, or was it Discovery? I forget either one. They had it on there where it literally, you know, nature would take over. Your buildings would collapse. Your cars would rust into the ground. You know, trees would overgrow everything. You wouldn't see anything. So if that's the case, there was no life on Mars for millions upon millions of years ago, and they're not talking about civilized life. They're talking about, you know, simple organics or microbial, then, which we don't believe that's the truth. I believe there's a civilization on there. This stuff would already be gone. It'd be buried. There'd be nothing there to see. I think this happened just recently when they seen the explosions in 1941. I think it might have been as soon as that. Because we're seeing things that are still there. It's not eroded by wind. It's not, you know, it does have a rain cycle, a water cycle, and Gale Crater. This stuff would be gone at some point. You wouldn't see any of this if it was that long ago. And by the way, Mona Gidlin, thank you very much for your support. Always appreciate it. Saying cool. That's awesome. Rick C., what's going on? He said, hi, Chris, and everyone else. Photography like magic. That's a great question. You said, pardon my ignorance, but how the hell do they expect to hear sound in an air vacuum? sound doesn't travel through a vacuum. Maybe someone should tell them, because you and I both know that. Well, they say there's more density of air in Gale Crater, so maybe that's what they're hoping. They're going to hear sounds through it like that, or there's a lot more air and there's a lot more atmosphere on the planet. Because how many times you guys question, how the hell do you get a parachute and almost no atmosphere? Now, don't get me wrong, they had to be quite large, just like they have the rotors on the new helicopter, Ingenuity. They're very large, and they spin at between 2 and 3,000 RPMs. So they have to have these things in order to have lift. And it's no different than the parachute. It's absolutely humongous. Have you ever seen the test they've done with these things? Oh, my God. These things are huge. But I think it's much more than that. I think they have, there's a lot more air than they're claiming. There's blue skies. We've already went over that before. Water cycle. And, oh, my God, it's just so much there. You know, they're not just telling us. We're just piecing it together because we can do that, right?
Yeah, the blue sky. When Inside Lander first touched down, you could see on the big screen in the background.
Yeah.
The blue sky. And the guy from NASA, talking to the interviewer, said, we can see a bluish blue sky.
Mm-hmm.
Did you say that? He stuttered a bit, and then he said blue sky.
Oops. Maybe I shouldn't have said that.
And then a minute later,
yeah,
it was red. They applied that puke red.
Yeah, I said that.
Orange.
I said the same thing. I said when they had the Insight land, the first photo was blue. And even the women would turn around. They were, all the people in the control room were like, oh, my God, look, the sky's blue. The sky's blue. Clear as a bell. And all of a sudden, like you said, it wasn't 5-10 minutes. I don't even think it was 10 seconds later. They switched it over, and everything had that pukey orange color on it.
Did
Absolute
you see
trash.
the two guys at the monitor, at the big screen, how panicked they looked?
Yep.
They were busy on their cell phones, and I thought to myself, they should be celebrating. Why do they look so serious? And I think that's why, Chris.
Yeah.
Who knows? But it is odd. Okay, what's happening? Hey, Saturn Ark's there. How's it, my friend? Good to see you there.
Julian says there's birds. Oh, they're birds. I mean, again, I don't know why, and I'm confused about this. I've said this before. So you're telling me these high-tech rovers, even the Opportunity or Spirit, why wouldn't they have put microphones on those things then? Think about it. And if they couldn't do it way back in the day, when the Viking lander, I get that. It kind of makes sense. And the Sojourner was so small, it probably couldn't do it. But the lander could. The lander for the Sojourner. So it makes you wonder, you're going, okay, come on. You're telling me you can't do a simple audio bite for like a simple 5 seconds and upload that and send that back to Earth? Am I missing something here? Come on now. And they're saying, well, the cameras, this, that. Listen, I got a camera sitting right here. It's a Logitech. It's nothing fancy. You probably pay $70 for it in the store. It's nothing, like I said, it's nothing fancy. And yet I can have some really good quality video. And you're telling me these guys are going to spend millions upon millions of dollars, but, oh, wait a minute. You know what? Why don't we skimp on the camera? Or let's not add any airs to this thing. Come on. I don't believe that for a moment. These guys are not that stupid. And, they're going to put every darn thing they can possibly do into this rover, right?
I agree.
New cameras have 100% anti-tampering technology. Could be. Hope so. Mimi, imagine there's a bird nesting on the rover.
Hey, I see Lionheart Glassworks is also there. How's my friend? Good you could make it. Boy, the chat's really moving now, Chris.
Oh, yeah. Noodles, fun fact, Saturn Arc has done years of research with Jean Ward. I did hear that.
Yeah.
In fact, we were talking about that earlier.
Chris, Saturn Arc and myself go back years. We've collaborated quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
And he's pointed out some really stunning anomalies as well. Like in Asimov, we've got that huge monolith. It's 34 by 75 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And if you work out the aspect ratio, divide the length by the width, it's very similar to the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey.
Mm-hmm.
But this thing's huge. And it's right there, sticks out like a sore finger. Can't miss it.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah. And Asimov also looks like an analog to the city of Atlantis, the way it was explained, with all these circular moats going
Yep.
around the city. Asimov looks a lot like it. It's a circular depression, not a crater,
Yep.
but it looks like there's like canals that have been dug out around this thing. And there's huge blocks that you can still see intact next to one another, and some have rolled down.
Mm-hmm.
And they're perfect blocks, Chris. Four sides, right angles, smooth surfaces. It's absolutely astounding. So it looks like they were sort of retaining walls of sorts. Who knows? But yeah, Asimov is my analog and Saturn Ox analog to a potential city of Atlantis.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a lot of these
So,
things, they look like they're intentionally designed, right? Or they've been put there. So again, we can only guesstimate or just kind of speculate as to, gee, what is that? And, we try to dig into our minds and say, well, what do you guys think of that? Like the last video I did, it looks like structures or some kind of weird vehicles or whatever the heck they may be. Again, it's pure speculation. Even if we can just say, like, let's say it looks so much like a vehicle, and we'll say, well, it looks like this. We still can't go over and handle it. We can't touch it. We can't, smell it. We can't use our senses to see what this thing really is. So we can only guess as to what it could be. But again, we only need to know if it's natural or not. And then you got to ask yourself, what the hell's it doing on Mars? Doesn't make sense.
Chris, from Earth, if you look at a dried out lake bed or a dam, you see the mud cracks up, right? And sometimes it forms sort of rectangular tiles or slabs. They look like rectangular or square tiles or slabs, but they're small, right?
Mm-hmm.
These things on Mars are humongous. And I mean, they are geometrically and symmetrically rectangular blocks. Look, maybe it's natural processes, but I don't know of any natural geology apart from a dried out lake bed that forms these strange broken up pieces, in squares. These things aren't like that. They've got sides to them. They've got uniform depth to them. And nature doesn't build in right angles and parallel lines and
Oh, yeah.
perfect circles. I mean, I find perfect circular discs in the same vicinity as I find these rectangular blocks.
Yep.
So you'd expect from a dried out lake bed, okay, you're going to get these rectangular blocks and sort of funny shapes, but you're not going to get perfect round objects as well. So just having them in one area, in one JP2 is just amazing.
See, that's what I've said before, because, you can get like a 90-degree angle. It's not impossible for nature to make that. But now let's put 8 of them together. Now let's throw some circles and some other squares, and you go, oh, wait a minute. Okay, I get the 90-degree angles. That's a very good possibility. Nature's not, it can be done, right? But then you go, okay, now we get circles. Oh, wait a minute. Now we got rectangles, and we get circles within rectangles. Wait a minute. Hold on. So you start piecing this together. You say, I see one maybe 90-degree angle. That's not enough to prove anything about Mars. It really isn't. But when you get a bunch of these things put together and all these different shapes within shapes, wait a minute. That's where you got to draw the line. You go, okay, I'm not stupid here. I can tell this is not natural.
Yes, and Chris, I found so many examples. I'm going to do a best of anomalies in my next video. I think there's something like 50 top anomalies that I'll be showing everyone. But you've got these megalithic slabs that are rectangular, perfect rectangular, but they've got a triangle.
Yeah.
It's like this, but I found 3 or 4 of them. How is that possible?
Yeah.
It's like a triangular side to it, and it's a perfect rectangle, and it's
Mm-hmm.
duplicated. It's duplicated.
Yeah.
And a lot of the blocks, Chris, that interlock that I found, that I showed on my channel, have got those knobs or protrusions on them.
Yeah.
Very similar to those that you find in South America. Like those blocks were molded, or I don't know, maybe they were made out of cement. Who knows? But they look poured.
Yeah.
The way that they connect together, they were made to fit
Yeah, they were
nicely
designed.
together.
There's no two ways about it.
Like
Yeah.
those blocks in Indonesia and Planitia.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they're still next to one another.
Mm-hmm.
And you can see how they were cut to fit nicely together. And I believe on Earth they did that to minimize earthquake damage, apparently. That's according to mainstream science. That's why they built like that, because the things overlap and they interlock. So I don't know. It's very
Well, it's like
interesting.
if you've seen that type of thing on Earth, archaeologists would be screaming ancient civilization, civilization. You see it on Mars?
Yes.
Ah, it's just paradolio. Like these guys, I'm listening to the
Exactly.
guys in the group, and they're saying, "Oh yeah, it's swamp gas," and bugs eating swamp gas, and all.
You know what, Chris? I'm not going to mention the person's name, but it's also a subscriber to my channel. And he's also got a channel. He's got a couple of videos that he's done as well. And he actually approached NASA. He joined the High Rise Forum. It's like a chat forum for these people that look at high rise photographs and things. And he posed the question about these anomalies. And you know what they said to him? They said it's pareidolia.
Yep.
You're just imagining things. And then he tried to follow up with some more questions. And the next thing, his profile was deleted off the forum. He was
Imagine
just
that.
deleted. Yes. We don't like your questions. Just go elsewhere. Unreal.
Well, the funny thing about it is, like I said, my buddy, he goes by Space Cadet. He had done, I told you this earlier, where he was a lithographics person. He was like for 12 years. And he's the one that showed me how to use the black plating and, Photoshop and bring out the raw parts of the photo and all. And what was funny about it, he showed me this, he took me to a site where these guys literally are the ones that make up these pans and these photos. I'm like, what the hell? So I started reading these. Look at it, and I said, the guy says, well, I put Mount Sharp in this photo. This one here I did not. I'm going, I'm confused. So
Hey?
what do you mean by you put it in there? It's either a photo or it's not. So
No.
as I read this, the more I read it, I was like dumbfounded. Like, I've said this before. I believe that Mount Sharp, as we see it in the photos, is nothing more than a template, and it's put over things that are actually standing up over the ground, and they're using it as a template and plopping it right on top of things they want to hide. Instead of trying to blur it all out, they can plop this thing right on top. You're none the wiser, and they do the same thing to the to what they were doing on the moon photos. They have these weird looking mountains. They look milky, CGI'd. It's just, it's like another template. They drop it under maybe a large structure, and it looks like a mound. This is the reason why you can actually see these weird, funky lines inside these mounds sometimes. Look at the foreground sometimes in these moon photos. Nice detail. Looks great. You look in the back, it looks completely CGI'd and completely fake. There's a reason for it. And I believe those are templates. They just drop on top of the largest thing standing on top of the surface that they can't simply get out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, with Photoshop's got some amazing tools. You know that healing tool, where if you take a part of a photograph and you duplicate it, you can actually use the healing tool to make it blend in perfectly.
Yeah. Yep.
Like if you want to duplicate the curtain behind me and get rid of me totally in a photograph, you could do that.
Yep.
With Photoshop. Yeah, I'd just disappear.
Yeah.
And you wouldn't know any better. So who knows what these guys are up to? Did you see that photograph of these designers, graphic designers that were working for NASA? And on the guy's table next to his laptop, you could see this photograph of the moon, the surface.
Mm-hmm.
And there was this perfectly square structure that you could see right there.
I did a video on that.
How do you explain that? How do you explain that?
Yeah.
I mean, there.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. Grant McGowan, thank you very much
Yeah,
for your support. Greatly appreciated. So, would love to both of you. Just to let you know, I have been following Eric Von Daniken for many years. He is my inspiration, and you guys are natural heirs. Well, and the thing is, it's like, yeah, I'm a big fan of him as well. I got a few books of his, just awesome stuff. And how do you not? I mean, you get kicked off. Most people say, I started off with Chariots of the Gods. First thing you talk about, first, like you look at the book and it's like, it's insane, but it's cutting edge. Like, you would say, oh, yeah, that's stuff that was taboo. Nobody would talk about it back then, right?
Mm.
But now it's not so far-fetched.
Yes. Chris, the stuff that he's discovered is also incredible. And I like to follow his work. I mean, if it wasn't for him, I don't think there'd be an Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. I think he's done some outstanding research and work.
Yeah.
And I like his youngster that he's training up, Giorgio Tsoukalos, with a little Kumbaya jet there on his lapel. Have you seen that, Chris?
Yeah. Yep.
I actually found an anomaly on Mars that looks like that. I don't know if you've seen it.
I'm not sure if I have or not.
It's got the delta wing.
Yeah.
And it's got the little ornate pieces on top of it, very symmetrical, and it's got the tail. It looks exactly like a Kumbaya jet.
Yep.
And it's on my blog as well. If you go to mars.raptorzone.co.za and you type in jet, you'll come up with that little image.
Oh, yeah.
Where I compare the two. Chris, it's amazing, really. So, I don't know. I've approached the History Channel, the producers, Prometheus Entertainment, or A&E as they're called. I've emailed them a couple of times in the past, and they never get back to me because they do stuff on Mars and anomalies, but they always look at the face in Cydonia.
Yep.
How old is that already?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
George Haas from the Cydonia Institute actually looked at that face that I found, and I called it the Face of Chewbacca.
Nice.
Looks like the Face of Chewbacca. I mean, really. He had a look at it, and he said, yeah, that's awesome. He likes this, and he wrote a journal about it, and he's calling it the Chewbacca Outpost, that area. Because there's pyramids there too, around that face.
Yeah.
It's outstanding. Oh, man. I just wish the History Channel would look at our stuff.
Oh, I know. Something. You know what I mean? And actually get a good look at it, because just some of the stuff, well, it's like I said, I'm glad that they picked up, the third phase of the moon picked up and analyzed some of your work, and they were like all over that. The structures that you had found would look like the Eye of Horus and things of that sort. Really cool. That was really good video. And you just have to have more of that exposure, you know? I was on a Russian TV show that actually had me on there, which is cool. But the only problem is the closed captions is not exactly the most user-friendly. You know, some of the things were just like totally bizarre. It's like, on the planet Mars, there's a large pizza. I mean, it's like this. It's like it misinterpreted things. It's like, what is going on with this, right? So, it wasn't the best, translator, if you will. But nonetheless, it was still fun to do. Really cool. But yeah, it needs a lot more of this needs to go out. A lot more channels need to pick it up. Because it's still, like I said, even if we can't guess what this stuff is, you still can't help but to say, okay, again, it's still not natural. So it simply makes no sense. And that's what people need. Even if they said on the channel, like on, let's say History Channel, right? And they said, okay, we're not sure what this thing is, but this clearly doesn't look like something that should be on a cold, barren planet like Mars. It's as simple as that. And yet we're seeing it.
Undeniable. And you know what, Chris? If they would only change their focus a bit, they would have material that would last them for the next 5 years. That'd be guaranteed of shows.
Oh, God,
with all the stuff we find on the moon and on asteroids and on Mars. Yeah, Bennu asteroid, Chris, is an amazing place. I don't know if you saw that funny structure. There's never a close-up of it, but you can see it there's an animation of it on the Osiris Rex website.
Mm-hmm.
You can actually see it come into focus, and it goes around and it goes around the back. It's a rectangular structure standing up. I estimate it's about 15 meters tall, and it's got a roof over the top, like a what do they call a dolmen? It looks like a dolmen, but there's never a photograph of it where you can actually see this thing. It's always from a distance, and it's always blurry. But it looks a lot like the stuff I find on Mars, with this roof, and there's a flippin' thing in the middle of it.
Yeah.
What is that stuff that I always find in the middle of blocks?
Yeah.
They look like little spheres. Okay, they're not little, they're like 3 meters in diameter. They're very similar to those spheres that you find in India. Praveen Mohan's
Yes.
got a channel. I don't know if you follow him.
Yep.
He's also found these massive spheres in India. They're perfectly round. And then you get those in Costa Rica.
Yep.
Those big balls. And some of them are packed in Stonehenge.
Yep. I seen that. I was actually, I like his channel. I'm subscribed to Praveen. Yeah,
I love his work.
Good work.
I love his work. I absolutely adore his work.
Let's see. Dash Hounds Rule. Thank you very much for your support. As usual, he said, my two favorite Mars YouTubers. You two have found some awesome stuff. Well, I appreciate that, and thank you very much again for your support. It is appreciated.
Much appreciated. Thanks.
Let's see.
Oh, and Stonehenge. Talking about Stonehenge, we found a couple of those too.
Oh, yeah.
Let
me go jump down here for real quick. Let me see.
Chris, it's all role play. It's not real.
No.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, this is what it is. I mean, it's kind of like NASA, all of these other space agencies, like I said, and I'm talking about the higher-ups in these space agencies, right? I think, again, that's where the real work's going on. That's where I think most of the stuff is. Like, in other words, all the top-secret stuff and everything that we're doing, that we're seeing, like rocks on the moon, rocks on Mars, and we're drilling here and there. That's all PRBS. That's what I think that stuff is. It's just to tell the public, look, we are hard at work here on Mars. This is where your money's going to and all this other crap. And I don't believe that's the truth at all. I think they're, like I said, they were up there since long before they sent man to the moon. I mean, if you look at the missions, how many went to Mars alone? Soviet Union back in the day. A lot of them never got off the ground. We tried, we failed. Finally, they got to the moon. They've been to Mercury. All of those. So when you stop and think about it, all of the times they went there, then they sent, orbiters. They seen this stuff long before we sent anything up there. So now that they said, well, let's build this technology to go there. So we finally were able to do that in 1975, 76, and then from then on, there you go.
That's right. Did you hear Werner von Braun's? Just before he passed away, he told his personal secretary that I think there were 5 things he told her, and one of those was that they've actually been to the moon and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what is it that he told her? But before he passed away, he made an admission, and he, like what could you call it? Like a deathbed confession to her, and he said all these things that have been covered for years. And she came forward and she presented this evidence, but no one believes it. I don't know if you know about the story.
I've heard of it. I've never actually seen it myself, but I've heard of it.
No, maybe someone in the chat could tell us a bit more. Because remember, he was a Nazi, and there was speculation that they were using anti-gravity technology.
Yeah.
I don't know if they got to build the Hanabu, but the bell sure is intriguing.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they got up to with the Vril and all those secret societies and things. We can carry on talking about this forever. There's just so much, Chris. Let's see what they say in the chat.
Yeah, let's have some questions, and we'll look at some questions and comments. So you guys got any questions for Jean or myself, or just throwing something out there? Timothy Ryan, hey Chris, best channel on YouTube, bro. Oh yeah. Tony Gibbs, you said that's why he was arrested, etc. I don't buy everything Eric has to say, or has said rather, but he definitely was one of the first to pull back the curtain. Absolutely.
Oh, yep. Yes. Yeah. Noodle says Werner rambled on about 3 wars, terrorism, germs, and then an imminent alien attack.
Yep.
Yeah, that's where the false flag alien attack comes in.
Yep.
And a lot of people speculate that that is what they're preparing us for right now. They're softening us up, and they're going to come out with this strange alien invasion.
Oh, yeah.
I won't buy that. Because I don't think these off-world so-called aliens are hostile. I don't know if they are. Maybe. Who knows?
Goldheart says, strange, there seems to be ancient stuff as well as machinery on Mars. Totally agree with you. Every time you look at something about Mars, it looks like it's been blown to pieces. I mean, it's just bizarre the way those photos are. It's not everything's blown to pieces, but it looks like the majority of stuff is scattered about. First, it was the devastation, whatever caused it. And then, like Jean, you said earlier, it looks like, when they did have this displacement of ocean, it literally washed on everything, kind of just laid it down. And that's what we're seeing a lot of it. And I believe absolutely that's true.
Yeah, there's photographs showing a massive flood that also happened in Elysium Planitia. And it flooded the plains there as well. And the scientists have actually said, they've come out and said, this is the remnants of a massive flood. And that's where my friend Saturn Ark and I discovered those, what we call, in inverted commas, horseshoe crabs. We've got this long, how could I say it, this long track with parallel edges to it.
Mm-hmm.
And then this clump lying there at the end of this long parallel track, straight track. And then you'd see another one come through this way and another one come through that way.
Yep.
So those things that we found could have been massive creatures. I'm talking about 12 meters across, these things. And they moved like mud crabs across this flooded plain.
Yep.
And they left this track behind them. And you know what NASA says? Those are from lava flows. Now, if you look at lava flows, you'll have your structure, your rock, and you'll have this flow behind it. And you'll find all these things with a flow, they'll have parallel lines to them. But we've got stuff going in all odd directions, and it doesn't make sense unless those things actually moved across the surface. And it wasn't actually just a flow.
Right.
Because things are close to one another, like hundreds of meters apart, which you wouldn't expect to find in a flow. I mean,
yeah.
Anyway, it's like a flat plane. So there's nothing obstructing the flow, and it will change directions or anything. It's very strange. Awesome crabs. Man, love them. Satnog.
Let's see. Let me see. Renee Vaughn, you said, Chris. Hold on. I think it jumped on me here. Hold on. Okay, here's the other one. At first, it came up and then all of a sudden disappeared. I was like, okay. Mars was prosperous and perhaps now underground. And I think you can see this in Jean's research. Well, yeah, between that and what we're seeing, the devastation on the actual on the surface, it looks like things could still be used. In other words, even if it was a collapsed structure, it looks like it can still be used, or they went underground. One of the two is going on here.
Yeah. Also, that one guy that on the panel at third phase of Moon mentioned that NASA gave a mandate that if they get to ancient structures on the Moon or other planets, they must try and use those structures as habitats.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know about that as well.
Well,
That
the
is
thing
sort of
is,
their
they're
plan.
going to use them regardless. Why would you not? I mean, well, the whole
Yes,
plan is
exactly.
to what is it, 2035? They're supposed to be going there to Mars. But the funny thing about it is, even if it's 2050, because I heard there was two different dates, but let's say it's 35 for argument's sake, which is more than enough time to get there. Meaning, get ready for it, train the astronauts, so on and so forth. It just, you know, common sense would tell you they'd use the structures, but they're saying that they're going to send like robots there. They're going to make 3D structures, so on and so forth. I think it's really silly to do that when there's probably so much of these structures that can still be built. You can actually either refurbish, whatever, reconstruct, or just use what's there and never have to. I mean, think about it. If you go into the structure, let's say it's kind of dilapidated, but it's still very solid. You can walk in there and okay, what do you need there? I mean, you could still, you know, in the summer time, you can still get up to 70 to 100 degrees there. Oh, now if the oxygen is thin, then you might have to wear a breathing apparatus. And if you're within these magnetic fields, you're like underneath one. You're literally protected from the solar radiation. So if this is all true, then you and I can walk around on Mars with a T-shirt and never have to worry about it, except for the breathing part. Now, to me, it just makes more sense. They would try to utilize what's already there.
Chris, did you read that article that was published, I think, a year ago about this new foam that they discovered? It's ultra light, and you don't need much of the material that actually makes these foam tiles.
Yep.
They're very, very light. You take them up there, you make these tiles, you stack them on the surface in a dome, you seal the dome, and they say, without any other technology, the temperature inside there will go up to 35 degrees Celsius. You read that article, it was in the mainstream news.
Yeah.
I actually did a video on it, and I didn't get many views. The technology exists.
Yeah.
This gel that you form into these thin tiles, and then it becomes like foam. It's like polystyrene type of stuff. But it lets in UV light, or it lets in light, but it blocks the UV from getting out. So it's like a little mini
Greenhouse type thing.
Greenhouse, yes. And they say inside there, it will be perfectly habitable.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
the Amundsen Scott dome that they built down in Antarctica. Have you seen that dome?
Yep.
By the way, we found a couple of those on Mars too, right, Chris?
Yeah, we have.
It's amazing.
Well, the
It's
funny
amazing.
thing is about, I said it before too, where back in the day when the Viking lander grabbed the soil, analyzed it, sent the information back to Earth, they were able to simulate the soil on Mars. All they had to do was put a little volcanic ash and simulate it to the Martian surface, and it grew better than mostly anything here could grow on Earth. So it makes you wonder, okay, so, and that was back in 1975, 1976. Well, wait a minute. If all of the composition, if they mirrored the composition of that soil, then, oh my God, so why couldn't anything live there now? And like I said, always in the summer months, you get this big plume of, well, you get
Methane.
oxygen, methane or methane, depending on how you want to pronounce it. You get these huge plumes. Now, and somebody had just asked this question earlier. What about that elongated cloud? Again, it's coming out of RC Mons.
Yes, I saw that question being asked.
So when you look at that,
like
and I'm going to
terraforming
show
to
you guys
me.
this right now because this is interesting. Oh, this was interesting too, by the way. Your page, I'll show everybody that in a second. Let me see if I can find this thing. Probably won't because I
No,
want to.
that long cloud that emanated out of RC Mons, or what was it? It looked like terraforming.
Yep.
This massive plume just going across the surface. It didn't look. NASA claimed it was a cloud. They claimed it was a cloud. You've got to go to mars.raptorzone.co.za. This is my website.
Yeah.
Type in mars.raptorzone.co.za, then you'll go to my blog.
Yeah.
And
Well, the cool thing
you'll
about
find
it is, too, I didn't even realize you had all of this, what do you call it? Antennas and frequency and all that other stuff. I started looking at that earlier. I was like,
Oh,
oh, sweet.
yes. You'll find plenty of 27.555 antenna designs there, Chris.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I've built so many antennas already. I'm
The,
actually tired of it.
the
I
let me
just
see if
feel
I
like
can find this
putting
again.
up a private Antron 99, whatever, on top of the flat roof. I've got this flat sink roof. Maybe I'll just pop it down in the middle of that
there you
and
go.
forget about putting up beams and things.
Let me get rid of
Oh, and I'm an
myself here a
artist as
second.
well. I do a lot of drawings and illustrations. I'm actually a graphic designer and web developer.
Oh, sweet. Let me get rid of
Are
my...
you to my blog?
All right. Let me just read this real quick. I don't know what that's
Oh,
right on
yes.
there, but okay. It says right here, strange giant cloud reappears on Mars. What I find interesting about this, it says, scans suggest that the mystery cloud is not linked to volcanic activity in any way. The last time Martian Mons was active was about 50 million years ago, according to NASA. Now, what I found interesting, it says, instead, scientists suspect it's a cloud made up of water ice flowing down the sloping sides of the volcano. This is what's interesting. Again, in the warmer months. It says, and it doesn't last long either. Each Martian year, around the time of the Mars southern solstice, equivalent to December 21st, but the way they talk about it, too, is right around the warmer times, or is around the equator. Everything seems to be going on the equator. Well, what do we have here on Earth? Well, it's the warmest temps. You've got the most rain forest, so on and so forth.
Chris, I just want to interrupt you for a second. I need to take a quick nature break.
Oh, okay. Yeah, go ahead.
I'll be back in a second, everybody.
So it says this elongated cloud forms every Martian year during the season around the southern solstice, and it repeats 80 days or even more, following a rapid daily cycle. And George Hernandez Burnell, PhD, candidate at the University of Basque Country, and leading author of the ongoing study into the cloud, said in an ESA, or ESA, depending on how you pronounce it again, statement. However, we don't know yet if the clouds are always quite this impressive. Now, we've seen the same thing, I think it was a year ago. It's almost like every time, but they say they've been checking these things out since 2009. And it always seems to be almost like a certain period of the year that this thing does this. Why not every year? Why not or any part of the year? It seems to be at a certain time of the year. It just doesn't make any sense, right? Let me see. Dash Hounds Rule, you said, love this. It is pretty interesting, isn't it? Pretty sweet. Let me see. I don't want to miss anybody here. I have one artifact. You said HDOS 1AV. You said, I have one artifact like that, a meteoric, iron-based, I'm not sure what the bas relief. Okay. Carving that's in perfect match to the sculpture recently found in the Bosnian pyramid. Can only post a pic. Well, yeah, exactly. Facebook, you can only do that, right? But, I mean, there's so much things. It's almost like there's so many things that are like almost a mirror image of very similar to what we have here on Earth, right? And we can see some of the stuff like Jean has showed. It looks like the Eye of Horus. It's the way it looked like a structure actually inside this weird crater. It looked like it was designed. It doesn't look like it was natural, right? Let me see what we got here.
Renee suggested I go for a smoke break. I'm actually having a smoke. I hope that I don't get into trouble for smoking on YouTube. Maybe the AI doesn't like that, Chris.
It's like, well, he's a smoker. Let's ban him.
Luckily, you can't see it because you've got that article open on the screen.
Let me see. Let me jump all the way down here in case I missed any of these. Let's see.
Oh, we missed a ton of comments. This is, we can carry on forever, Chris.
Now, Pete Ferrero, you said, I'm sorry, Jean, you said...
as long as I can smoke breaks.
Yeah, exactly. So you're good. Could be why oxygen is increasing on Mars. And Noodles, you put like this volcano exploding. But again, they claim that it's nothing to do with any kind of eruptions. So it makes you wonder, what is causing that? And this happens. And last time I did this, like I said, I'd done this video about that. And I brought down, they had a really good photo. It was like close up. And when I did a real close up and zoomed into that cloud, and you brought the brightness down, there was like this square right there at the very base of where this smoke plume started. Makes you wonder, what is causing that to do that? If it's not volcanic, then what is it? It really does make you wonder. What else could it be if it's not a volcanic eruption?
Yeah. Just typing a quick reply here. Yeah, smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, somebody actually speculated it could have been a craft that crashed.
Yeah.
A massive craft that crashed there. You know, I went and I looked at MRI photographs of that region of Mars, and I found a really, really huge hole.
Yeah.
It's perfectly round, and it's about 150 meters in diameter. And NASA actually comments on that JP2 photo that they can't see the bottom
Right.
of it.
Yep.
It's just like this bottomless pit.
Yep.
And that's the type of thing that the astronauts could also occupy, these underground lava tubes.
That's what they say, yeah. For better protection from the sun and everything else.
Yeah.
Solar radiation, what have you, yeah.
I think maybe this volcanic cloud erupted or came out of that hole that I found.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't find any other real sources. Like, Chris, it's a massive hole. It's perfectly round.
Yeah, I've seen that. Oh, yeah.
It's incredible.
Stephen Porter said, if we look at an ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs, they show beings with what look like they are wearing watches and carrying some sort of bag. Do you think they are breathing apparatus? It's anybody's speculation at that point, because yeah, it shows like like Sumerians that show that, where it shows these these giants are holding bags. You can see it in different other ancient civilizations, like you said, the hieroglyphs and statues. And it looks like they got some kind of bag or some kind of apparatus on their body, or something that they're carrying, and it could very well be. Again, ancient people are not going to do this unless it was something of paramount importance to them. They're not just going to go, hey, I feel like doodling today, so we're going to just carve into this rock, which takes a long time, but let's do it anyway. So, to me, it had to have been something of real importance to do that. And it's not like they had sci-fi writers back in the day. What would do that? To compel them to want to do that. It just simply makes no sense,
Mm. Right. Smoke him if you got him.
Michelle, thank you very much for your support. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you, and I hope you're doing well. Thank you very much.
Oh, P.S. There is still a cigarette ban in South Africa. Going on 120 days now.
120 days?
Yep. I'm telling you, they treat us like children.
Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy.
You are misbehaving. Do you know what? A while ago, alcohol, they unbanned the alcohol. You could buy it legally.
Yeah, I remember you telling me at one point it was banned.
People were partying and really having fun and going back to life as normal. And then our president came on TV, national TV, and he said, it's like, you guys were misbehaving. You were having parties and smoking Zor and whatever. And they banned alcohol again.
Yeah.
Right. And then he said, with immediate effect, alcohol is banned. So, and we've got a curfew.
Yeah. So you guys are on more lockdown than we are. See, I mean, I wish we kind of had that, because there's so many people running around. It's like they want to do the vacations, they want to do this and that and the other. And I'm going, and you wonder why there's people spiking up. There's all kinds of COVID cases spiking up. Now, some of them, I think the numbers are being blown up to, out of proportion. But nonetheless, they are going up. And I've known people that had it. The real Jimmy Roberts had it. Him and his wife had it recently. And it's not BS. It's the real deal here. Now,
yes.
to me, it just seems like, I just, like I said, I work in public area. I wear the mask anyway. Do I like doing it? No. But I've noticed a lot more people, because even the governor here said, listen, you will wear it when you go into an establishment. Or they can tell you, you can't, come in here. That's all there is to it. So now people are coming in there. As soon as they come in, they're putting their mask on. When they leave, they take it off. I mean, it's not difficult to do. You know what I mean? So I'd rather do that and not take the chance. Let's say, for argument's sake, I never had it, but I'm the carrier. Well, then I take the chance of giving it to somebody else. I give it to my family. Maybe it's older people and they can't tolerate it, and they, something happens to them. I don't want to be guilty of that. So, as far as I'm concerned, I just wear it. I hate wearing it, but it actually helps, and it's a non-selfish act to just do it. That's the way I look at it.
Yes. It's a sign of respect.
Yeah.
And you don't want to frighten those around you.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we can get arrested if we don't wear a mask out in public. Somebody asked, why are cigarettes banned? Because the National Command Council thinks that smoking causes or aggravates CV 1984.
Yeah.
COVID 1984. Did you read that novel by George Orwell? 1984. Yeah, track and trace. That's what they want to do to us. They want to track and trace us, Chris.
Yeah.
No, I'm just joking. It's nothing to do with 5G. It's just pure role play.
Here's a good one. Michelle, you said, let's talk about the platforms on the moon. Now, that to me is pretty interesting, because I've done a lot of videos about that, where it looks like some of these things are octagon shaped. Some of them are completely round or oval, and they have what looks like a dome or something really large on top of them, and they're not concaved. These things are actually flat. And I've said, listen, guys, and I've actually done a comparison where you can see a crater right next to this, and this is white and it's flat, and there's something on top of it. Now, because it's so far away, there may be more than one thing there. In other words, you see something dark, and it's something very large, but it could be multiple somethings, and you can't see it because you're just too far away. You just see something really large and not independent, smaller things. So what do you think about that? I mean, you've seen some photos, I'm sure, and look like these are platforms. They look like just like a white plate. We'll call it a white plate, it looks like. But it doesn't look like a crater. It's not concaved in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, Chris, I've also seen a couple of those on Mars, believe it or not. I've actually seen what looks like the area, the surface has been cleared away. It's in a shape of a square. It's been cleared away. And right in the center of it is a strange disc-like object. It looks like a disc with wings. I don't know what else to call them. It looks like flanges.
Yeah.
On each side, with a dark spot right in its center. And it's standing tilted on its side in this, what I call a platform.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. These things are huge on the moon, though. I'm talking about an 8-meter diameter craft, potentially. But these things on the moon are massive.
Yeah.
I've also done a couple of moon anomalies videos, and these things are just massive. They're really big. I don't know what to make of them either. There's actually a tool that you can use on these moon photographs. They took the radar scans of the surface, and you can actually draw an area around an anomaly and get an elevation profile of it. So you can actually see what height this thing has as well. I wish they'd do that with the MRO photographs.
Well, see,
but
that's
I demonstrate that in my videos, in my moon anomalies videos. I show you how to use that tool. And it's amazing. These things are like 5 to 10 meters tall, but they're huge out to the sides.
Yeah, I found that a lot of times too, where like in the Mars photos, there's a lot of whitened out areas, but there's lines in these whited out areas. And once you bring these lines back, all of a sudden it doesn't look like a flat area. It looks like it's actually standing up now, where you can see some height to it. And they do that a lot on the moon photos as well. And
Yeah.
I've noticed that, in fact, there's a moon photo I just looked at, and I'm hoping to get this one out soon, where you can see the LRO is so down, almost level with the moon, and you can see all of these structures, and they kind of really blended in with this white, it just made it really look like all one piece or like some kind of weird mountain range. But you could see these things like shapes that you go, clearly that's not a mountain. This thing's literally sticking out of them. And it makes no sense. So I just looked at that photo, I think it was yesterday, and I just set it aside. But very interesting things on this moon, man. And it's like, again, I said this before, if these things were on the moon and they were silent about that, they're not going to say anything to anybody about it. What makes you think they're going to say it about anything? Mars, any of the moons they go to, like Titan or anything. They're not going to say anything. There's no way,
Yeah, I agree with you. That what they do is they reduce the contrast and they up the brightness.
Yeah.
And then you don't see anything unless you go in and actually adjust the contrast and the brightness. I know I've done that too, and I've used the burn tool on a couple of anomalies, and then they really pop, and then you can see. But hang on, there's depth to this thing. Otherwise, it just looks flat, and a normal person will just look at it and say, "Oh, okay." It's somebody asked me, why do they release these photographs with these anomalies in them? And my answer was, they probably think people are going to get bored of looking at boulders and rocks.
Yep.
But I don't. I spend hours. I spend 5 hours a day easily.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
After my daytime job, I spend at least 4 or 5 hours in the evening looking at anomalies.
Mm-hmm. Totally agree.
And like I've said, I only find out of all of those I look at, only 2 or 3% of the photographs are actually usable.
Mm-hmm.
The rest are totally sanitized, if I could call it that.
Yeah, I do the same thing. I mean, it's like I could be going through photos and I'm looking at them, okay. Nope, nothing of any value in here. Whoosh, next. Take another one. And here's the thing, you're not just looking at just random ones. Like if I look at it on the moon, I'll go through a whole magazine that they've had of that particular mission, whether it be 11, 8, whatever it may be. And I'll go through them. And, you might look at, there might be hundreds of photos in that one magazine. And you're looking at nothing of any value, nothing of any value. Or is it just something I could bring out? I see something, but will the public see it? So I'll try to drag it out. And if I can, great. If not, I'm not going to waste their time. I'm just not going to do it. So, there's just so much in here to see it. And there's one photo, I'm hoping to bring down the brightness of this because there's so many crazy things in there. Bush Corey, thank you very much for your support, man. I do appreciate it. Good question. You said, with evolution, how are we going to look in 1,000,000 years? That's a great question. What do you think about that?
Arts and Craft says, thank you, Chris and John, for your dedication. You're welcome. It's my mission in life.
Yeah. The Bush Corey, I think the only way I could say this is that he said, with evolution, how are we going to look in 1,000,000 years? I think the only way we're going to look like anything, if we don't kill ourselves off first, is we're going to be multi-planet species. That's the only way we're going to be. Will this Earth even be around in 1,000,000 years if we don't completely kill ourselves off? The planet may still be here, but we may not be. And to me, it's just like, there was a saying before, some guy said it was, I forget what it is now, but he said, usually a civilization will grow so immense that it can't help but to implode on itself. And basically the civilization burns itself out or kills itself off, whichever you like. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, Elon's also got that drive in him to get humanity to spread out through the solar system as quickly as possible. I think that's one of his missions.
Yeah.
And it's good that there's people like that out there.
Yeah. I mean, we need to, because if we did something incredibly stupid on this planet, killed off the human race, that's it, we're done. If we get a foreign body that slams into this planet and it's about the size of Texas, we're done. Or at least it's going to be the majority of people are going to be done. We'll go into a nuclear winter for a good couple, 2-3 years. Yeah, that would be a really bad day. That would not be good.
Yeah, yeah. Hopefully we'll be on Mars by then, Chris. All of us in the chat as well.
We'll take everybody with us. It's like, all right, we're gonna just
We'll,
build a ship. We're going.
yeah.
Crowdfund. Like, oh
Yeah,
man.
there's this
Let me
the
see,
guy
Michelle.
from
You said
Netflix.
some also look like taps to prevent leakage of gas. Yeah. What was that? Oh God, what was his name? I'm gonna draw a blank on his name. But he actually talked about he done his own, had his own telescope and showed like a plume coming off the moon. Maybe that's it, right?
Yeah, the Hubble's also photographed these plumes emanating off the planet's surface. And I mean, these things are going up 18 kilometers or more, 80 kilometers even.
Yeah.
And that's what that guy saw in 1941.
Yeah.
I think he discovered Pluto, that guy. I can't remember his name now. But he also checked things like that, and he reckoned they looked like nuclear explosions.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And I think it could have happened back then. If you listen to some of the researchers and whistleblowers out there, they reckon the Nazis got to the moon, Mars in the 40s, 30s or 40s.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's possible.
LS6SS, what's going on? Good to see you in there, man. They said, we're nothing but a petri dish, an ant farm on something's dresser. And you know what? As funny as that sounds, I've said that before. We don't know if we're some kind of experiment to see how we get along. Maybe there's different species, and it could be anything that, maybe a species that's very similar to like we are here on Earth. We have Asian, African American, European, so on and so forth. And, people have said this before, like, they put down their people, so to speak, and they said, well, let's just see how they evolve and see what becomes of this. Now, how true that is, I don't know. It's just a theory or just a speculation, whatever it may be. But I think it's an interesting one. I mean, they could be saying, oh, it's like, like bringing up little animals and just see how they grow. I mean, see, will they kill themselves off? Will they thrive? Again, let's just see how they get along. Let's see how, what they do. I don't know.
Yeah, and look at the UFO activity over military bases and missile silos.
Yeah.
In the past.
Yep.
Just after the nuclear test up there, was it Arizona? I don't know.
Yep.
Anyway, yeah, that's when UFOs started really appearing in our skies too.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're definitely keeping an eye on us.
Yeah.
And what the agenda is, I don't know yet.
I don't know.
But I think they have our best interests at heart. There might be a hostile species out there, but I think most of these, I speculate they're all friendly towards us as the human race. Because why else would they come and check what we up to at our military bases and with these tests that we conduct?
Yeah. I honestly don't think they want to see us kill ourselves. They're probably saying, you know what? These people have a lot of potential. I think that they could do it, but we need to stop them from warring with each other. They can't even get along as a human race. We need to somehow stop this. And this is the reason why they said, when you guys take to space and everything else, there would be no weapons out in space. We're just not going to tolerate it. So, I mean, to me, it just seems like they might be like almost like our parents. Oh, now, children, stop fighting, kind of thing.
Yes.
And because it's just weird how we haven't yet done it. I mean, don't get me wrong, we get so darn close to killing ourselves off, but we don't. So it makes you wonder if there's somebody actually looking out for us and multiple things or beings looking out for us, right? Who knows?
Yeah, that's right. That's like that doomsday clock. It gets close, and then it gets reset, and the arm gets pushed back a bit. Then it gets close and gets pushed back.
Yeah.
That's almost like what happened close to Hawaii last year, I think it was, or the year before.
Yeah.
When that tweet when that warning went out that everyone should take cover
Yep.
and an attack is imminent, that type of thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if an actual missile was actually fired that day and it was taken out.
Yeah, it's...
I don't know what you think of that, Chris, because then obviously the authorities came back and said it was someone inexperienced that made a mistake, something like that. But who knows? Maybe a missile was launched from NK and it was taken out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I don't know what you think of that. But I do think that they're looking out for us.
Okay. JD5503, will somebody hire one of the big telescopes one day and point it at the damn moon? Surely we would see something. Yeah, I mean, I've actually said that myself. I said, listen, I'd love to go to just a local observatory and have a look. My biggest thing is I'd tell them, listen, I don't want to look at a computer through your telescope. I don't want something hooked to your telescope. I want to see it through an eyepiece.
Yes.
And I don't know if they'd ever show you that. They might go, well, sit here at the computer and you can move the telescope and you can look at the moon. No. I don't want to see some picture on a computer. I want to see right through the eyepiece itself through the telescope, and I want to see for myself. Because these things are so immense, some of these things, that you could, I don't know if you'd actually see really good clear, because these structures may not be very big at all. And, I mean, even the LRO sees the landers and stuff as very small. So would a telescope cut it here on Earth, even if you were at the equatorial region where there's less pollution and stuff like that, because you get way up in the elevation on these mountains that you could actually see clearly without all this influence of the atmospheric conditions and stuff. You may be able to see the moon, but I don't know if you'd see it super close. Now, that's why I enjoy, the LRO photos because, well, the LROC, same thing. But this is the reason why I like looking at those. There's nobody with a telescope here on Earth, especially like, one of us, going to get a good-sized telescope. You're not going to see the surface. You're just not going to do it. You'll see, like, you might be able to do it something in the observatory, something very large, and even then it'd be hard to see. When you got something that's only 75 miles off the lunar surface, that's a whole different ballgame. 1, no atmospheric distortion. 2, you're only 75 miles off the surface. Huge difference. And I would trust that more than I trust anything here on Earth.
Yeah, I think I've seen a photograph or two of Hubble photographs taken of the moon. And they look very similar to the LRO.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. You'll need a really massive telescope out there. The best is to get boots on the ground, Chris.
Oh, absolutely.
But I want to go to Mars. I don't want to go to the moon.
Well, you got a lot more better chance of living on Mars, I guess, than you would the moon.
I think so.
I mean, you could freeze to death on either planet, or the moon or the planet, I should say. But during the day, you're probably going to roast on the moon, so that may not be a good thing either, unless you're in one of the ancient lava tubes on the moon. But, if I could go there and see that first and then go to Mars, that would be interesting.
Or in one of the craters near the poles.
There you go.
Where all the water is.
Yep.
Yeah. No, but I think, realistically, I think we can survive on Mars. We just need to get the infrastructure there first.
Oh, yeah.
Let me see I don't want to go, really, if it's a one-way ticket, to be honest with you. I want to be able to come back.
I'd love to come back. That'd be good. Somebody was saying something about, Chris, you need a new cable on your mic. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe I hit the thing and jerked with it a little bit. It should be better now if it is messed up or anything like that, but it should be fine. Darren AM, I think it is. What causes the Martian dust storms? Well, it's just like anything here on Earth. You have cold fronts and you have warm fronts. You're bound to have twisters, which we have seen. They've showed animations or videos of twisters on the surface, and sometimes it's like sisters kind of going, just swirling around. You're going to have cold and warm fronts, just like we have here on Earth. When you have a turbulent... Now, keep in mind, if you're up around 70 degrees Fahrenheit to maybe even over that, because they've said they've seen even higher than that, now all of a sudden go to a huge pendulum swing down below zero temperatures, what's most likely going to happen? Chances are you're going to have a clashing of air fronts, cold and hot, and you're going to have this turbulent air. So you're bound to have a dust storm or twisters or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and I think Opportunity and Spirit rovers actually photographed dust devils.
Yeah.
So there's definitely convection currents on the surface.
Yeah.
And that's what took out Opportunity, was it? A dust storm that lasted
Yeah,
for
that's
months.
what they claim. It was a huge dust storm, and it just buried the panels, and it can no longer charge itself and everything else. But I find it hard to believe it hasn't it's what happened? Somebody put a dump truck full of dirt right over it? I find it hard to believe that these things have been on there for how long? They've had dust storms. They had more than one, and yet they survived it. Yet all of a sudden, oh, wait a minute. This is the mother of all dust storms, and it just kind of just buried this thing, and then it couldn't recharge, and therefore it was dead. I don't believe that. I think it's still roaming the planet as we speak. But that's just my opinion. I'm not saying it is.
Anything's possible.
Let me see.
Let's see. What else is there?
Robert Morgan says, hi, Chris. Hi, Jean.
Hi there. Somebody just commented technology will be our downfall. Yeah, we've got to be careful, especially with artificial intelligence, Chris? No, we've got to treat it with utmost respect. It could go out of control very quickly.
Yeah.
Because what do people do? They always want to militarize things.
Well, you know as well as I do, if there's new technology, let's say they find new technology on the moon, which I believe they have, they're always going to want to try to use it to their advantage. Let's say they get something to function, but they're not sure what it is. Well, it turns out to be some kind of device that can literally disintegrate a building within seconds. You know, right off the bat, they're thinking, military's like, hell, we can use that. But, you just don't know. I mean, but then you get these kind of like microwaves, right? They went from technologies back in the day. They made a microwave oven. Well, then they had these Humvees that had basically the same damn thing on it. They had a giant dish, and they were literally from like 100 meters away. They would put this thing on for like a millisecond, and you'd be like, oh, you feel like you're getting roasted from inside. That's insane technology to be able to do that. They don't even have to launch or shoot you, just boil you from inside. They say, well, no, it's really not going to hurt you. It's only going to affect the water molecules just under your skin. Are you serious? How much is your body, how much percentage of water do you have in your body?
Yes.
And it's only going to affect just the water droplets under your skin, right? Yeah, okay.
And it all depends on what frequency these millimeter waves are being emitted.
Yeah.
You don't need much power to cause damage.
Yeah. Oh, no, not at all.
If you can resonate cells at a specific frequency, resonance causes things to just blow apart if the system isn't contained. It's like an antenna, an RF antenna. If you can get that thing to resonate, it actually boosts your signal.
Yeah.
That's why yogis and things like that work. That's why this stuff is really dangerous. And I don't want to talk New York, starts with a 9 and ends with a 1.
Yeah.
But everything was dustification, I think they called it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you've looked into that. But the technology, I think, exists. But I don't want to delve into conspiracies. Right.
Well, the other thing is, too, I was going to add, too, what you said, was that, again, you're into radio yourself, and I've said this before on here. Like, I can take this radio I got here, the Yaesu 7100 FT. I can take that, put it on the business band at 151.94 megahertz, which is, again, business. Now, put yourself a little rubber ducky on the back of that instead of an external antenna. Put that on to 50-watt output. You can literally feel the radiation burn your face.
Yeah, you can actually.
That's a sleazy 50 watts. Now put in, I think they said it was like 300,000 watts. It was in that Humvee. Oh my God! And not only that, it's directional. It's not even omni, so it's directional. That would cook you almost instantly. Oh no, it's not going to hurt you. Whatever. You know what I mean?
It's as effective as a laser.
Yeah.
It's got the same type of power, really. So what do I want to say? Chris, Can't remember what I wanted to say now.
You're going to say something about conspiracies. You're going to get into that.
No, no, no. I'm off that. I don't want to get us demonetized and censored. And you know, I was censored on Facebook. I think it was 2 years ago. Somebody must have reported me to Facebook, and the next thing I know, all my posts were censored.
Really?
So I went in and I deleted my Facebook. I did a video on that too.
Yeah, it's sad that you can't even,
And
there's no such thing as free speech anymore.
I know. And then I went into Twitter, just by the way, and I deleted my account there as well. But I'm staying on YouTube. Luckily, I haven't been taken out here yet. So that's why I always put that disclaimer at the beginning of my videos to say this is pure speculation.
Yeah, that's all you can really do.
Yes.
Let's see a couple shout-outs as well. Blue Sunset, good to see you there. You said, I always thought it would be nuclear bombs. Looks like bio-warfare, basically, you're saying. Jimmy hinted COVID-19 may be a weapon. Well, it was. It's basically, it's engineered. It's an actual bioweapon. You can look it up. It's part of the SARS, and it's part of other COVIDs. Look it up. It's actually it's a bioweapon. That's exactly what it is. And again, like I said, Dick Cheney years ago said, we want to cut back the population. What would be the best way to do that? Well,
Mr. Gates.
Yeah. So what is the best way to do it? Well, why don't we go ahead and just make some diseases? And how many people can we kill? How many people has this thing killed since beginning of the year? Now you got to look at things that are natural storms that can be controlled. They could do that and kill off how many people at a shot. And it's not only just killing these people off. Understand, let's suppose it's a guy early in his 20s. Okay, you just killed off one life. But what about the children he would have had with somebody else? You just killed him off, and as well as his future children, as well as women, same thing. You just killed off her from making any kind of children. So further down the line, how many generations had you just wiped out, including that one person? So now put all of the people together. How many? I don't even know what there is now. I mean, there's just so many, because now we have this explosion of COVID. So now, what was the numbers before worldwide, and now what are they now? Good God, man. It's like they just wiped out X amount of people in what, a 6-month period? Let's call it 8 months. Good Lord, man. It's just like, and that's what they're doing. They're wiping people out, and they're thinking, hey, and in a twisted kind of way, it makes sense. Because think about this. What happens if we eat up all the resources on this planet? What happens then? We're in a world of hurt.
And you know what? I don't know if you saw that TED talk that Bill Gates did in 2010, I think it was.
Mm-hmm.
And he actually had this formula of carbon dioxide equals people times services times, it was like a formula.
Yeah.
And he said, one of these has to reduce to zero.
Right.
And then people laughed. And then he said, well, with people, we can improve vaccines and birth control.
Yep. Yeah.
It's scary stuff. And I mean, if you look at those monoliths, they're in the USA. There's these New World Order things inscribed
it has
on
the three standing like granite walls, yeah.
Someone just proclaimed they want to reduce the population to 500 million or something.
Yep.
And the United Nations released a manual. You can download it. It's a thick document like this called Agenda 21.
Yep.
It's not a conspiracy. It's actually
it's real. It's a real deal.
Yes, and they talk about viruses, amongst other things. Chris, I don't know.
Let's see.
Psychopaths out there, eh?
Yeah. James Cragen, thank you very much for your support. As always, you said, Chris, I am very late. That's not a problem. But still made it. Great videos again this week. And going by the comments, we are all the same. We all see the same structures, etc. Absolutely, man. It's one thing if I see them and I go, some people say, well, it's kind of suggestive to your the people viewing it. So every now and then you'll see me come out with something that's like, guys, I want to show you the picture. I want to let you guys decide what it is this time. So in other words, I don't have any bearing on, swaying you either way. But You know, and I've always said on my channel, I don't care if you disagree because you may see something different than I do. And I love the idea that people do because I don't want them to be robots. I don't want them to be, yes, everything you say is etched in stone. No, I don't want that. I want critical thinking minds. And that's what it's all about. And people are dissecting these photos. People are enhancing them. And that's, if I can get one person to do that, I've done my job. It's as simple as that. And I've always said that. You know, take this stuff apart yourselves. Because at one point, and Jean, I know you'll definitely agree, is that at some point we're going to disappear. You know what I mean?
No.
We're not, you know.
We were speaking about that earlier, and I said, I hope that I inspire some youngsters to take up this baton and to continue with it.
Yeah. That's happened time and time again with me. I mean, I've had people say, man, we sit in front of the whole family sits in front of the TV. There's people that say, I got Photoshop, I'm doing it myself. And I went, yes, that's what it's all about. Because at some point, I mean, we just found out today, by the way, both Jean and I are the same age. We both look great for 38. So, you know, so it's kind of cool in a sense, but at some point we'll just stop doing it or whatever happens, right? So other people have to come into play and be able to keep doing this. And it's not just my channel, it's not just Jean's, it's everybody's that's doing these. It's like the next generation has to come up behind and continue the battle kind of thing, or exposing. So I think that's what it comes down to, right?
I also look at it this way, Chris. What we're doing is, in effect, we're building up this massive catalog that people can go and reference.
Yeah.
And who knows? You know what? When I looked at the stats on my blog, not my YouTube channel, my blog, I noticed Chinese and Russians and then Arabic nations were some of the top viewers of my blog. And you know what? I think possibly these guys go and look and they see, okay, these areas of Mars look really interesting. Look at this stuff. You know, I always theorize that NASA releases the photographs and then leaves it up to guys like us, guys and gals like us, to actually analyze these things first.
Yeah.
Because if you employ a geologist at NASA, just think how he's never going to be able to analyze all the photographs.
No.
I mean, the MRO has got something like 68,000 photographs that you can download. If it's not even, I think it might be more.
Yeah.
That's why I think they release these things to the public and then they check what comes back. And I think some of these nations that are into the space programs now, especially Mars, they looked very interested very focused on some of the anomalies that I have on my blog. So, I don't know, Chris. Hopefully it's a catalog that can be referenced.
It would be, it would be nice.
But it would be nice if Elon approaches us, us researchers, and says, listen, we need you as consultants.
Yeah. Well, see, like I said, I've always said that. I said, you know, the second he started...
I would do that job without frowning once. Okay, where do I sign?
Yeah, exactly. Where's the pen at? It's like, well, this is the way I look at it.
Doing it for a living. This is what we're doing now. If we could do it for a living, just think how effective we'll be.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Because when I get home in the evenings, I'm tired. I mean, I work from 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Okay, at the moment with the lockdown, I'm working from home, but it's very frustrating.
Mm-hmm. Well,
the
if you think about it, because you mentioned Elon Musk, to me, he already knows everything about what's going on there, because the second he became affiliated with NASA, and of course he's subcontracted through NASA, takes his supplies to the ISS, you know he's in. I mean, he knows what's going on. And this is the reason why he's adamant. He says he wants to die on Mars. Wait a minute. For what reason? There's nothing on the planet but dust and garbage, and meaning just cold. And what would be the purpose? Why would you want to die there? Now, don't get me wrong. There'll probably be structures there and everything else he can live in and then maybe die on the planet. That would be really interesting to do. But, you know, I strongly believe that there's much more to it. And he wants to go there for a reason. He knows what's on that planet. I believe he absolutely knows.
Oh, I agree with you 110%. But it can't be proven, right?
No, exactly, and that's the
Yes.
problem. But
Did,
um,
did, did you see that interview? Donald Trump's son interviewed his father, and he asked him at the end of the interview if he can say anything about the crash in Roswell in 1947. And did you see how Donald Trump looked away? And it's as if he was looking at someone to
trying to
see
get the
what he should answer.
A-OK or not, yeah.
Yeah,
Yep, he's
he
kind of like,
knows
he's
the answer,
probably
but
going, no, no.
he needed to look at his, what do you call that person? That's your consultant, the guy that looks after your best interests in
Yep,
the
yep.
public eye. You know what I mean? He looked at that guy, and the guy probably went, "Don't say anything."
He's giving him the kind of like cut, like kind of thing, like, no, 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 don't say a word.
A public relations officer was going, "Don't say
Yeah,
anything."
keep your mouth shut. And it's like, well, it's like,
But
what did they have Obama on one of the talk shows, and he did that. He said the same thing. They said, so what do you think about aliens? Well, I don't know. He said, what do you mean? He said, well, we're told to say that. Like, there's none, like, there's no aliens, but he says, well, we're told to say that. Think about it. And it's like, then you see
okay.
Trump, and then you see all these guys. They know, they're in the know. Come on.
Oh, I'm sure they get briefed. Chris, did you see that news conference with Donald Trump? And right at the end, one of the journalists asked him, "So, what do you know about alien DNA that's being used for medication and vaccines?"
Oh, see, I didn't see
Did you
that.
see it? Yeah, a journalist actually asked him, and he looked at this person, not like, "What, you talking crap?" He was actually very serious.
Like,
And he
what the,
looked
how
at
did you
this,
figure that out? Or how'd you find that out kind of thing? Yeah.
yeah, he didn't really answer the question, but he looked a bit flustered.
I would imagine
It's not
so.
like he went, what are you smoking? He was really sort of like, looked at this journalist, you know.
Yeah, it's like, how did you
Have a
figure
look
this
if
out?
you can
Where'd you
see
get your
that.
info?
Have a look at that. It's incredible.
Yeah, that's
Some some amazing things are happening. Unreal.
Alien Tano. You
But
said, Musk knows Earth is effed. Yeah, pretty much. Um,
well, I don't think Earth is effed. I think that some of the people are. This planet we live on is an amazing place. It's Gaia. It's Mother Earth.
yeah.
But unfortunately, some people just spoil it for all of us.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Oh yes.
Let me see here real quick. MJ420. After Humpty Dumpty fell, the Smithsonian took him away and never to be seen again.
Indian is true for. I'm just reading some comments. Uh,
James Cragen says, well, Jean Ward, I think you and Chris providing proof with your channels and videos, etc. Well, that's what I liked about Jean when he does his. Well, when you do yours, Jean, because we're talking to you. Make it sound like he's third party. He's not here. But the thing is, he's doing satellite photos, which is awesome. And we're doing ground photos from the rover itself. So when you put the two together, you're seeing, like I said again, satellite views, and you're seeing things from the rover itself. So both views, and it'd be one thing if he said, well, I looked at the satellite photos. I'd never seen a thing that was out of place, nothing anomalous. Then you go, okay, so then how are they seeing it on the ground, but you're not seeing it through the satellite, but yet you are. You're seeing things that look monolithic. You're seeing things that just really stand out of place. It's just insane how much stuff you can find. And then, you're seeing the stuff on the ground, how much trouble they're going through to really hide what's there, but yet they're letting things out. It's almost like I said, it's like they're watching the channel, anybody's channel that does this, and they're going, hey, let's do this experiment. Would people freak out if they see this stuff, and then when they see it, they go, wow, they pretty much accept the idea of this. They're intrigued, They like it. So what would happen if we actually did come out and say there was an ancient civilization on it? But they're never going to show you anything clear. I guarantee it. They might show you a little something that was there and say, but this is going to be way off. I think this is going to be years away. I think what they'll show, like I said, they'll start off, I made the prediction, they're definitely going to find microbial life, whether it's, fossilized or else, or just alive. Yes, we finally found life. And then they're going to find maybe a little bit of moss, something that's indigenous to Mars, and then it's going to go from there on. And they're going to start off real, slow. It's like feeding a baby. You're not just going to slam a steak down their throat. You're going to give them, a little bit of mush, and you're going to slowly feed them until they can accept, the idea of what's really going on, right?
Well, Ellen Stofan has given us a deadline. She said within the next 10 years. We'll know whether there's life on Mars.
Yeah. Well, they're setting you up as a mind frame. They're letting you know that, we're going to get there. Don't worry. Yeah. It's coming.
It's freaking slow, though.
Oh, I know. It's actually painful.
Did you see those patents by Pius? His surname's Pius?
I showed several of those, the different patents and stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, this guy, he's a military contractor, if I'm not mistaken. He designs things for the military-industrial complex, and his patents were released in the mainstream media, where he actually talks about the anti-gravity electrogravitics of these triangles and things like that. The Navy actually said, listen, we've patented these things. Did you see that? Yeah.
I've actually had that on where, in fact, a sub had made it, gave it to me, and I put it on there, and it's showing, it has the walls, inner walls, and it's showing, plasma traveling throughout. But these are patents that are actually made. They're actually doing this, and it'll describe the UFO or spacecraft, and they're saying it's patented from this point until this point. I mean, it's the real deal. I mean, they're literally building this stuff, but that's just making it out now. So I'm wondering just how far back these things really go. You know what I mean? So you can imagine the technology they got today.
And then you get the narrative of the To the Stars Academy, and they're pushing this threat.
Yeah.
Threat. Everything's threat.
Yep.
And you know what? They're making us forget about the previous 70, 75 years.
Mm-hmm.
What about all that information?
Yeah.
That all these researchers have done. And now they come out and they make us focus just on these 3 gun camera footage videos.
Yeah.
It's a very unfortunate situation that they're pushing the threat side of things.
I know.
So I don't know what the idea is with that. But, Chris, I think there's a lot out there that's ours.
Well, I mean, I believe it's ours, and I also believe, like I said, I've talked about the Apollo 11 astronauts several times where I said, these guys are walking away or going to the spacecraft for liftoff, and people are cheering them on. They're waving everybody, they're smiling, having a great time. They go on their mission, they come back, and like I said, they look like they lost their parents in a car crash. They're like, they didn't even want to be there. They want nothing to do with that press conference. They wanted out of there so bad they could taste it. And I'm going, wait a minute. This was like one of the biggest steps for man. Of course, there was other previous Apollo missions. But still, they just made it like, this is the most important step to man. But yet they came back like completely horrified. Like they were so preoccupied with what they saw, they didn't even want to be in that building at all. That just makes no sense to me.
It reminds me of the reaction that Buzz Aldrin had when he went down to Antarctica and they had to evacuate him.
Yeah.
Was it him that was in that interview with Neil Armstrong and them after they came back from the moon?
Yeah.
He had that same expression on his face.
Oh, yeah, I mean...
And Neil actually looked at him like, don't say anything.
Yeah, he had that look on his face like... Say nothing.
That was like, scary. It's really scary.
Well, I mean, people said, a lot of these guys a lot of people that don't believe it, they said, well, they asked them about the stars and they simply had no answer. Like they know they've never been there. No. If they went to the moon and they're seeing these structures and spacecraft, do you think they're going to look at the stars? They're so
Yes.
preoccupied when they landed. They seen these things, and they're like, I think their mission was to go to these things, handle them, take a million pictures of these things, maybe take a piece of that metal back. Of course, take the stones back for the public. So that's a PR move. But they're taking back other things that are steel, maybe something from the craft that was broken apart, or something that's just laying there, or whatever the case is. When they went there, they weren't going to go, wow, look at the spacecraft that's clearly not anybody here's on Earth. But hey, wait a minute, why don't we stop looking at that for a moment? Let's look at the stars out there. They're not going to do that. They were so engrossed in what they were looking at that when they got back there, even they said they go, so what about the stars? I didn't see any stars. They looked like they were like they didn't even want to talk about that. It was such a bizarre press conference that whatever they saw flipped them right out. It totally freaked them out.
Yes, did you? Yeah, William Tompkins. Did you hear his testimony?
Yeah.
That when he was a youngster, now he was involved with the telecommunications with the Apollo 13 mission. That when they landed there, they actually, on a private channel that was encrypted, that radio amateurs could listen to, actually said, we're surrounded.
Yeah.
The crater edge is surrounded with craft.
Yeah.
And these guys are looking at us.
Yeah, they said they're right on the crater wall. They were up on it and looking down at us. They're watching us. So if that's true, that's insane. I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah. And in audio that you can actually listen to, they actually say Santa's back.
Yeah.
I think they refer to these anomalies as Santa.
Yeah.
As a code word. These guys were exposed to amazing stuff.
Well, yeah, and I agree. Here's a good question right here. Archetype Net says, was Hoagland right about the glass structures on the moon? Thoughts from you and Jean? Me personally, they found structures on there, and he said they could be miles high. I don't know. I don't really know if I can't say yay or nay because I've never seen anything on the moon that would be similar to that, meaning it would show something like that. However, there's times where you look at a photo and you can see like a blue light. It's either a light itself or a reflection of something there. And a lot of these photos, you can see where they've literally made the sky. In other words, they put all black and they kept that one light. Like you can see it's surrounded by squares. Like they took everything else out of there but that. Now, you might say, well, maybe that's maybe it's a planet far off, or it's some kind of lens flare or something like that. But now that could very well be a structure there, and what you're seeing is a reflection of the corner of it or whatever it may be. But it wouldn't surprise me if these things were there because there's so many things we found on the moon where it looks like spacecraft just laying there, like they've been just said, okay, we got our use out of them, go ahead and leave them, we're out. And they just left them right there on the surface, or they couldn't take off from there, or they crashed. Whatever the reason, these things are on the moon. So it makes you wonder. You're going, okay, if they did see these things, that had to be mind-blowing, depending on the size. These astronauts see these things, and the first thing I said was, they get out of their lander, they go to these things on the buggy, they take the little moon buggy, they go to it, and right off the bat, you got to be scared out of your mind because you're going, this is something that no man on Earth has ever built. My first thing would come out of my mind is, what if something comes out of this thing and kills us both? You don't know that. So the fact that they've seen these things, it must have been mind-boggling to say the least. And then if they had to go into these things or they had to try to dissect them, take a bunch of photos, whatever, they had to be totally freaked out. They would not be mentioning anything else, stars, whatever, the regolith on the moon. Who gives a crap? They're looking at what they were sent to do, right?
Yeah, precisely. Oh, no. It's a pity that Neil didn't say something before he passed away. He was really dedicated to the cause, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Like many of these guys are. I think it's a question of honor.
Yeah.
They've sworn an oath, and these guys are staunch military guys.
Oh, yeah.
And they stick to that oath.
Well, I mean, you can see, though, they came back. They were never the same, right? But they are. They have military background. They were at least good fighter pilots and whatever else, so yeah.
But Buzz did say something that what he saw down in Antarctica, what did he say, was truly horrifying. What did he say?
Something along them lines.
Yeah, but that tweet was deleted.
Yeah,
He made the tweet and then it was deleted later.
yeah,
But oh, for sure, he knows a lot. And I mean, he's a consultant on the president's team. He always gets invited to the what are those speeches that President Trump does? State of the Nation.
yeah,
Buzz is always there.
yep.
He's like dignitary. I think he's in the know, and he's a consultant on that team.
Oh, I guarantee it.
Yeah, he's the one that said we must go and look at the monolith on
Yeah,
one of the moons of Mars.
yeah.
Phobos.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Good. Here's a question from Elaine. She says, Chris and Jean, what do you think about China? What do you think China really found? Is the green substance really glass? Now, of course, that's what NASA claims that it was from. I think it was from the spacecraft, and it melted it. I don't think that's the case at all. I think it was there because I've done a video where it shows. I think it was a rover. Or the lander. No, it was a lander, I believe. And you can see not far from it had that melted substance or whatever that was. First they said it was like a gooey substance. But in the background, you could see what looked like structures. You could see squares and rectangles, and it would really trying to get those things out of the photo. But again, watch what this hand's doing here on the right. Don't worry about what the left hand's doing. That's the whole idea. That's what I get from it every time I see something like that. They're trying to get you to focus on that particular area. Now, I don't think that's the case at all. I think that was something that was left behind. But that's, again, it's a speculation thing. Now, is it possible a craft could have done that? Sure, absolutely. Heat up enough sand, there's your glass. Absolutely. Now, if that was the case, why wasn't it all over the place? It only showed like a certain spot of it. You're telling me that the rocket engines only burn that direction? I mean, why wasn't it all the way around the craft? So it makes you wonder, you know what I mean? I don't know. What do you think about that?
There's also speculation that the Chinese have discovered something and they're using it as a trump card, pardon the pun. And people speculate that's why there's this animosity between the States and China. It's because they've got this trump card about what they've discovered. And people think that they might want to come out and disclose. But I don't know. It's pure speculation.
Yeah, it's pretty much.
Yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do here.
Are you going to do a pan? Are you going to do a gigapan?
Well, I was thinking about doing that, but
Yeah.
it's getting kind of late now.
No, for me, it's weekend. It's
Okay.
1:18 a.m. in South Africa now.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
And it's not even close to my bedtime yet. Don't worry.
It's not time for milk and cookies yet.
Oh, milk and cookies. I've forgotten about that, Chris.
See that?
I had a chocolate and coffee before this hangout. That's why I got so much energy now.
Michelle says China is tech hunting alone up there. Alone. Yeah, I mean, and I've said this before. When China went up there with the Chang'e 3, this is what was funny. They went up there. They had photos. The worst photos I ever seen in my life, where you can see the lander off in the distance, but everything else is complete clouded over. You couldn't see anything. And the Chang 4 was even just as bad. They said, we got some photos here. They start off with like a handful of photos and never hear another word about it, ever. So it's like, really, guys, what are you really doing up there? And like I said, they try to play off with the Chang'e 3, where they said, well, it couldn't close its solar panels, so therefore it froze and it's not functional, this, that, and the other. And like I said before, guys, there's people here on the 2-meter band that actually could hear that thing ping, and they said bull. They automatically BS'd it and said, excuse me, they didn't say that, but they go, no, that thing's still functional because it's pinging. So that means they lied about it, and then not long after that, they said, well, we're not going to show any more to the public. We're just going to let it keep doing its scientific studies on there, and that's going to be the end of it. So, in other words, you guys are shut off, meaning the public. we're going to continue on doing what we set out to do. And Chang 4 is no different. It's no different. They're going to do the same exact thing. It's a bunch of crap. Just look at some of the photos. It's exactly the mirror image of what NASA's doing to these moon photos and the Mars photos. It's the same darn thing, only some of them were really overdone. My God.
I know. The CCP won't release anything incriminating, for sure.
No.
They're a very closed society, and they'll keep that secret.
Oh, guarantee
Even
it.
better than NASA does.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Do you know what I do find fascinating, Chris? That the Russians seem to be a bit more open in this regard. They also interviewed me a week ago, by the way, a Russian TV channel.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting to hear from the producers where people can go and watch that video.
Yeah.
But I've noticed, look at that incident near Phobos.
Yeah.
With that long cigar craft.
Yep.
They actually came forward and showed the photo, and that big shadow that was cast on Mars that looked like an oval. You know, that Russian girl, she pushed it. And I think they're more open about anomalous things than the rest are.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, because they had like a video where it showed there was a woman and a man that was showing this photo. Remember that? When they were showing this, saying, this is the last photo we got before our Phobos, I think it was Phobos 2 spacecraft, it went silent. And you can see what looks like almost like a cigar-shaped shadow on the moon. And he literally showed that. I'm like, oh my God, that's insane. And then that's it. It went dead. They never heard another thing from that spacecraft. I think Phobos 1 just flew off and just kept going. And never did stop and orbit the moon or anything like that. It just shot right by and it just went malfunctioning. But wonder how that happened. But the Phobos 2, you know, it took photos. It was taking photos of Phobos itself, and it went dark, meaning it just shut off. So they're saying, so what caused that? And they showed the picture of this damn thing, and I'm like, what could do that? So this thing, they said the shadow of that must be the craft itself. If it is a craft, must have been incredibly large to cast a shadow like that. So that's, you know, if that's in fact real, that's insane.
Oh yes, and there's a rover photograph taken at night of the skyline of the stars.
Yeah.
And you see this cigar-shaped object.
Yep.
In the different frames as it was moving down past the horizon. The stars are all static, precisely where they were in each frame.
But that particular thing.
This thing. I don't know if you've seen it yet.
Yeah.
It's a long cigar thing. And the research, NASA says it's a streak that was caused by the movement of Phobos, one of the moons.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I mean, the photographs were taken a couple of seconds apart.
Yeah.
So, and Chris, I don't know. Can it really cause a streak that long? How fast does the moon move?
Well, yeah, they're saying like it's a motion blur, motion shadow, some kind of streak. Maybe it was swamp gas. That's what it is, swamp gas.
Exactly.
See, you know, you guys we gotta stop doing this stuff. It's just swamp gas. That's all we're seeing here, guys. Michelle says, you and Jean give us more of the truth than NASA, ESA, the Chinese ever will. Well, it's almost like they're giving us the information, but they're saying, we want you guys to sort it. In other words, read between the lines, have a good look at this, and if you can pull it out, then you're inquiring minds. You definitely want to know.
We like librarians categorizing and itemizing the stuff for them.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go over to my blog and search for any term, especially the NASA photographs, the ESP or PSP numbers. You can type those in the search.
Yep.
And you can actually see what anomalies are in that photograph. So I made it really easy for them.
Oh, yeah. Alien Nintendo says Russia had Uber probes on Venus. Believe me. Well, they've been there more than once. And of course, they had some that crashed and some that actually made it with no problem. They had pieces that fell off the Dawn lander, which is That's when everybody said that it had that U-shaped, looked like a coupler type thing, half of a coupler. It had bolts sticking out. And they're like, look at that. It's an alien piece of something on there. It's not, man. It's part of the spacecraft. And all of these sites were saying, look at this. It's part of an alien thing. It's not. It's part of the Dawn lander, man. And it's not secretive, But if you look at the photos in the background, and I've done this on one of them, might have been Venus. Mercury or Venus. Well, it was one of the two. But where they had, like, the background, again, was completely toyed and screwed with. When you enhance the lines, you can see what looks like structures all along the edge in the back. It's like these people are landing these things for a reason. They're not just going, like I said, they're not just taking dots and throwing them at a map on a planet and saying, eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Okay, that's good. We're going to go ahead and just send something there. These guys are very methodical. They're not going to spend billions of dollars to send something up there just to have a look at whatever spot just tickles our fancy. They're not going to do that, guys. Come on. So I think 100%, just like every craft they've ever landed on Mars or any other planet, it was well thought out. These guys were absolutely insane the way they'd crunch numbers, the way they'd do these things. And it was, of course they made mistakes. This is the reason why you had some of these things exploded on the landing pad, or they never made it out of Earth's orbit or whatever. But that's how they learn, by mistakes. And, but they found out what's on that planets and the moons and everything else, and they're just not going to tell the public. I think they're afraid people would lose their minds. But I think if they were honest right from the word go, we'd be so up to speed. We'd be going, oh, they found something on Titan now. No big deal. But no, that's not the case at all.
Do you think it's got something to do with the Brookings report?
Oh, absolutely.
That's commissioned. I think NASA commissioned it, right?
Yep.
In the 50s.
Yep. I think it was late 50s, 58, 59, somewhere on there.
And their finding was that the public's not ready to know anything about these things.
Yeah.
I think it's about time that report gets filed in Area 51 under someone should use it as a prop under their seat.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, for them to even come up with that notion, let's make the Brookings report. Why would you feel the need to do that? Because clearly they must have known something was out there. And they're saying, then they're just posing that question. What if, the public's seen something like that? How would they react? Well, here's a perfect example. When they had that radio broadcast about, War of the Worlds or whatever it was,
yes,
people were literally jumping out of buildings and killing themselves thinking it was a real deal. Because they would tune in late at night, and they thought, and all you hear is this newscast saying, they're on us, they're attacking us now, do-do-do-do-do, and you hear all kinds of noises and stuff, and then people going, wow, we're really being attacked. So they're jumping out of windows, they're killing themselves and everything else. So, but that was back then. I think we're desensitized enough to where that wouldn't be an issue. As long as people go, okay, it's on that planet though, right? It's not near us, we're good? Okay, we're good. So now if you said, oh, by the way, there's an impending doom, like an Independence Day, and you got these large crafts coming towards Earth, you might find the same kind of thing happening with that radio broadcast. But as far as everything else, if they say, no, it used to be, it's an ancient civilization. It's long past. It's long gone. There's nothing alive there. There's nothing ever, it's been millions of years, whatever kind of spiel they throw at you. And then everybody go, okay, as long as it's there and not here, we're good. So, I don't know, man. It's just crazy, right?
I agree. It's the same with this New York Times article. They were going to come forward and say we found crashed off-world craft, and we'll present some evidence, and then it gets retracted. I mean, we're ready for it. We don't need to hear about threat the whole time. And anyway, Bob Lazar reckons that those craft that he saw at S4 were dug up. They were discovered in archaeological sites.
Yep.
Those were crashed craft. So, these guys have been here and they've left. I think a lot of what we see in the skies here on Earth are potentially man-made craft, and then some maybe interdimensional stuff that's coming through and manifesting.
No, it's like I said, if you ever seen the movie The Mist, the mist itself. Now, somebody had said there. One of my subs said when I mentioned that last Hangout, they said I've never seen that movie. I don't know how it slipped by me, but if you've ever seen the movie The Mist, they talk about how the military actually opens up, some kind of dimension, and of course all these creatures and things come out of there, and it kills all these people.
Oh, yes.
And
Yes.
really interesting. My daughter mentioned it one day. She said, of course, this was years ago. She said, there's a movie out there that my friend's seen, and they said it was totally stupid. They didn't get it, whatever. I watched it. I said, oh, my God, that's so spot on. What do you mean? Apparently they don't understand science. That was insane. It was a good movie, except for the end, if anybody's ever seen it. And I'm not going to spoil it, but in case you haven't. But really, really good movie. And I thought, why couldn't they do that now if they get the technology to do it? Open up a different dimension, and God knows what you'll let in.
Yes, there's the series Stranger Things
Yeah.
as well.
Yep.
What's that project? Monarch.
Monarch, yeah.
Huh?
Oh,
Yes.
no, Montauk.
Montauk. There
Montauk.
we go. Yes, opening up these dimensions.
Yeah,
Mm.
same thing. And
Yes.
so,
Chris,
it just, when I see stuff like that, and I go, listen, the technology, they say that's like between 1 and 300 years, the military itself is 1 to 300 years ahead of the actual general public. So God knows what these people have. I mean, look at like I said, I've said this before, look at our phones. Phones are like these big monstrous things back in the day where like the Motorola's, the things like the size of your head, you'd put in your face and they were 3 watts output, which I really like the idea of that because the phones now are like maybe 1/10 of a watt, 2/10 of a watt, whatever it may be. Where back then it was 5 watts. And you could sit there and talk. You could be in the middle of a friggin' jungle somewhere and still talk to somebody as long as there's a cell site. But
Yeah.
I found it interesting that, look at it now. You got these watches or you can put them on your wrist and of course they have Bluetooth to your phone. But even back in the 80s, they had a TV that you can wear on your wrist. It was no bigger than those. It was slightly bigger than the ones you see for the iPhones, the watch itself. But it had like a little wire that came out and went to the amplifier you put on your clip on your pants or whatever, and you could watch TV on it. And that was back in the 80s with these with these SMCs, these surface mount transistors and components and everything else. And so you can imagine the technology they have today. I think it would blow everybody's mind. I think they never stopped going, like James said, and you just said it right there. Thank you again, James, for your support. You said, I still think they didn't stop going up, Chris. And we're talking about the moon, of course. Now, I said this before, if they can go to the moon, then why couldn't they go to Mars? Other than take a larger craft, more supplies, a place that, if they took like a regular a shuttle and retrofitted that to go to Mars, the moon, it's not really that far-fetched if you really think about it. So, I don't know. Some crazy things out of pure speculation, but that doesn't mean it can't happen, right?
You know what, Chris, just coming back to this interdimensional facet, I don't know if you've ever watched these clips of these strange sounds that people hear, and I don't know where they're coming from. And they sound like trumpets and machinery grinding. Have you seen those videos yet?
Yeah, I've seen. Now, which one are you talking about? The one that's crap. The ones that like on the deep holes here on Earth, or was that you're talking about the moon when they were going around the moon?
It's like the booms.
Oh,
that you guys
yeah.
have
Yeah.
quite often. It's similar sounds, but it sounds like trumpets and screeching machinery.
You can hear them like real loud
But
too. Yeah,
all around. Yes.
extremely
And
loud.
I reckon that's sort of interdimensional stuff that's breaking through into our reality. Because no one knows where it's coming from. They can't find the source of the sound.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a really, really disturbing sound.
Oh yeah.
It actually makes me think, like, it could be the Earth that's really, it's like cramps and pains that the Earth is going through, and this is the sound it's emanating. It's scary sounds. I don't like it.
Yeah.
It
There was one that was really clear. I remember hearing it one time that there was a husband and wife. They had it on their camera that went out to their driveway, and they heard this weird sound, and they both went to the end of their driveway, and of course they seen this light that lit up the whole darn sky, And of
Yeah.
course the law enforcement couldn't tell anything what it was. Nobody knew what the hell this shit was, and it was just there, and it totally freaked them out. And that's not the only one I've ever seen. There's plenty out there that just listen to bizarre sounds around the earth, and just crazy sounds these people are hearing. And it's like, when I heard it too, I just was dumbfounded. Like, yeah, what the hell could cause that? Really
Yeah.
weird sounds.
Sounds like whales and screeching machines, and I don't like it. But anyways, what else is in the chat?
Well, what was it? Let me see where it was. I think Grant McGowan was getting out of there. He says, I'm out now, guys. Thank you, Jean and Chris and everyone else. Brilliant chat tonight. Love you all. More guests to come, Chris, please. See you next time. Peace. Grant, thank you very much for stopping in. It's always a pleasure, man. I'm glad you support the channel. And I hope you have a good weekend there, right?
Yeah, good night, guys. Yeah, Chris, we've been going for 2 hours, right?
2.5.
Oh, 2.5.
Yep.
Okay. I'm sure the cloud over at Google has got enough storage for this video. Yeah, don't worry about that. Yeah, I think
well, there's a good one for you. Miss Hurd said, she said about CERN. What do you guys think about that? She said, Jean and Chris, your opinions, please.
Oh, what do I make of that? I don't know. I've heard theories.
Well, I mean, at some point they supposedly found the God particle.
Yes.
They're afraid that they're smashing these atoms, so they're afraid they're going to do like the Mist. And by the way, Miss Heard, I think you said you didn't never watch the end of that. You got to. But the idea of it is that they're trying to. It's almost like everybody's afraid they're going to open up dimensions with this thing because it's so large,
Right.
and it's circular. I think it's in Sweden. I think. Am I wrong on that? I think it was in Sweden or somewhere. Oh, I might be wrong. You guys can chime in and tell me if I'm right or wrong there on that. But either way, this thing is very large, and they're like slamming particles together and atoms and every other thing, and and they want to really improve this thing, more power, all this other. I'm thinking everybody's like, oh my God, it's like they'll end up opening up something in Earth or just completely annihilate the Earth with this thing. But I don't know. It's just really weird, and it's just there's so many theories that what could happen, right? So I don't know. I'm not there.
Yeah.
I don't know. But it's weird either way.
It's in Switzerland.
Switzerland.
Have you seen the statues outside the complex at CERN?
Yes.
There's a lot of occultic symbolism there.
Yeah. Well, that's what they just said up here. Okay. One of the guys here just said it's the number there is 666. It says CERN's logo is 666, by the way. And that was, I guess it's TG? I'm not sure if I'm even saying that right. It looks like TIGJIH. But yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's puzzling that, the stuff that they're doing, the groundbreaking stuff they're trying to do, but everybody's like, the first thing they think of is, we're all going to die. They're going to rip the planet in half. But I don't think that's the case. I mean, because they're taking baby steps, right? They're like little tiny, they're bashing little atoms and they're very low power. Then they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And they know what to expect kind of thing. But they're just trying to push the envelope like man does. That's what we do. We push the envelope. But everybody's just hoping, we don't actually push the envelope to the point where we kill ourselves off, right?
Yeah. Why is there a statue of Shiva?
Yeah.
At CERN? Very good question.
Let me go back down here.
And there's a lot of occultism behind the names of the missions that NASA gives. Well, let me put it this way: the names that NASA gives to these missions is also very occultic.
Yeah.
So there's some interesting things that I don't really know much about in that regard.
Oh, okay. I got you there. I was just reading this. It's pronounced Half tile, more or less 8. Okay. Not sure. Okay. Alton Kraus says CERN created the Mandela effects. Thoughts? It's hard to tell because, yeah, I mean, you know, it's funny because when I first heard about the Mandela effect, I said, that's so stupid, man. Come on now. But then you start seeing things. They go, remember back in the movies? Did you remember this? And I'm going, it didn't say that. Well, it said this instead. Then when you listen to the movie, what they show, you go, no way, that did not say that. I remember correctly that said this. Or a lyric in a song or whatever it might have been. I said, no way. There was something about the Wizard of Oz. There was all different things that was like movies or songs. I said, no, it says this, and I know for a fact it did. And then you listen to the video again or the music video, whatever it might have been, not there. I said, no way.
I'm sure CERN produces a massive EMP.
You would think it would have to.
All that energy, I'm sure, disturbs space-time in a way.
Well, that's why they built it underground, though.
And it can alter timelines. If you've got enough energy, you can alter the time because it's connected to gravity, time, and space. It's all connected.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Let me see. Let's see. Joey Centofonte. What's going on, man? Good to see you. He said in my local paper today there was headlines. I'm sorry. I'm actually combining the words. Mars rover launched and NASA will look for life on Mars. Ha ha ha. Well, did you guys also see that other one where they said they had lost, supposedly, the way the title was, it said that it lost communication the first 2 or 3 hours of its launch. But what they said was it was like the signal was so powerful for the DSN, this Deep Space Network, that somehow it just got distorted and somehow it wasn't right. But then you read on it and it actually explains. So it wasn't like and it makes you think that, oh my God, something already happened to the craft, and it clearly did not. But I found it pretty interesting either way, right? Let's see.
E.T. phone home.
Oh yeah.
Hey, I liked Ben Rich's comment when he said we've got the ability to take E.T. home.
Oh yeah. Yeah, because I forgot who said that. There was somebody actually said that it was like we have the technology to actually take E.T. home because
Lockheed Martin, Ben Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
And he says you've seen Star Wars, you've seen Star Trek.
Yep.
That ain't nothing yet.
Well, they said, like, there was one guy that said, I don't know if it was him, but he said, anything that can be imagined has already been done. So you can only imagine just some of the stuff that they have. And like I said, I don't think we can even comprehend that. You know, we could have people going back and forth to planets and moons right now. We'd never know it. You know, people go, well, you can't land on a planet that's poisonous to us. That's why they have spacesuits, people. So you can still land on a planet if you can find a solid ground to land on and get out and look around. Now, of course, you don't want to land on something that something indigenous will eat you the second you walk off it. But on the other side of the token, you're like, but that doesn't stop you from exploring anything. You know? We don't know if they've sent, like, other probes to land on other planets like they did. Here's a perfect example. They sent some, what was it, like 4 or 5 different spacesuits, like just the fabrics, to there, and part of the helmet to see if when it's exposed to Martian atmosphere, what it would do. So I don't know if they got a chemical on it or whatever, or just the fabric of it, to see how it would react to the atmosphere on Mars. So how do we know they didn't do that to other moons like Titan and other moons, stuff like that, and send probes there and say, okay, we're safe to send people? How do we know this wasn't done a long time ago and that they've already been there? Again, pure speculation, but we don't know. If they're that far ahead in technology, why not? I mean, we're going by leaps and bounds here, people. We're not going by, well, we'll make the next cell phone in the next 20 years. No, these guys are doing this every year, something new technology. It's either smaller, it can do much more different functions. It's just, wow. You know, like I said, just look at the cars we're building. I mean, you know, technology is like astronomical and would, you know, leaps and bounds. Cars that can pretty much drive by themselves now. You would have never known that or thought of that back in the 1890s.
Yeah, that's true. Oh,
Astrobats81Z, you all have a lovely rest of the stream. It's getting late, 1:41 a.m., and I need a sleep. It was great. Bye. Well, thank you for stopping in, man. Appreciate that.
yeah, thank you. Chris, I think, is there anything else you'd like to discuss? I want to call it a night as well.
Yeah. Well, like I said, no, we're actually, this was actually pretty awesome. Like I said,
It
we
is.
got a chance to, talk to a lot of people, which is great. I love doing this because, like I said, I look forward to this every evening. And, everybody comes up with some really cool stuff. Like, have you seen this? Have you that? And a lot of times I'll say, to be honest with you, I've been so darn busy, I haven't really heard about it or whatever. So, that's what I love about it. It's like I said, it's like a giant round table, and everybody gets together and just has a conversation. It's all people like-minded like you and I. And like I tell people, we're no different than them. We get on there, we look at these photos, we're astonished about what we can see. And, just you and I, the difference between you and I is we bring light to this stuff where you can actually, we present it to them so they can see it. But it's nothing that they can't do. We're not supernatural here. We're just showing stuff, and people will go, well, I like to see that because I can't do this myself. So it's great that you guys can. So, yeah, I mean, kudos to you for doing the work that you do. And I'm glad you had the time to do this this hangout. And like you said, if you want, we can do this, again. We can do it almost every weekend or every other weekend. It's up to the folks here on the chat. I don't think they'd have a problem with that.
Every 2 weeks,
Yeah.
once a month. I think that would be great. I love this.
Yeah. And who knows? Maybe, like you said, you get yours. I think you said you wanted to try either different software or whatever. You want to have a live feed yourself. We can do it on yours as well.
Yeah, I'd like to experiment with that too in the near future. See if I can get live streamers up and running as well.
Yeah.
I think that'd be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, anybody who hasn't, anybody who's on the live feed, just check out his channel. I know a lot of you guys are already on board with his. You just said, like, Metalhead said, what is his YouTube channel? And it's basically Jean Ward. And you can just put it in the search box, Jean Ward, and so it's Jean Ward, Ward, and just put channel. And in fact, I could probably find that for you guys. I can do this here and then just put it in there. I think Jean might be doing the same thing as we speak. I think he's going crazy over there, so he's with the keyboard. Let's see if I can beat him. Oh, hold on.
I've got such a small laptop, Chris. I can hardly type on this thing.
Let's see. I'm gonna beat him. Here we go. And there's the link, guys. You can check out his channel. Awesome stuff. Like I said, mostly, what is it? I'd say, 99% satellite views of monolithic blocks and all kinds of crazy stuff. There's the link, guys. Check him out. Subscribe to his channel. Don't forget to hit the bell there because he's got awesome work. And it's like it kind of goes hand in hand with this channel, right? Because you've got satellite views. I do ground views. He does different areas. I do different areas. So it's like a good hand-in-hand kind of thing here. So check his channel out and subscribe to it. That's all I can say, man. It's just good stuff.
Thanks, Chris. And to my subs that are in the chat, please join Chris's channel as well. Chris, just before we sign off, I want to do, our work does overlap, but not always, because the anomalies you find are a lot smaller than those that I find.
Right.
But Will Farrar did a video a couple of years ago in which he shows these huge megalithic blocks and slabs.
Yep.
With perfect right angles, flat, smooth surfaces, and then it looks like rebar in some of them. I don't know if you've seen that.
Yes.
But there's a perfect example of where our work overlaps.
Yeah.
Because unfortunately, high-rise only does up to 25 centimeters per pixel. So it's just not high-res enough.
Well, the sad thing about it is they have those things. Like I said, they can see a 4-foot swath on the ground from the actual what do you call it? Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter on the high-rise camera. They can see a 4-foot swath, and yet you never see them kind of photos
to the public.
Yeah, I mean they see them, but we don't.
Yeah, I know. The best we get is 25 centimeters per pixel.
Yeah,
it's a pity.
Yeah, it is. I mean, because they say this, but they never show it. Like I said, the high-definition cameras on the rover, You know, you got these, like I said, if you're about 5'8" to 6 foot and you get in a fetal position, you can literally fit in that high-res camera. That's how big that thing is. So it's not a toy. It's actually pretty darn large, and it says unprecedented detail is the exact words that they use, that they can see down on the Martian surface with a 4-foot swath. Have you seen that? I've never seen it.
No.
So
Noodles is asking, will What's Up in the Sky guy? Yeah, it's What's Up in the Sky 37.
Yeah. Problem is, he doesn't really do any more videos, does he? I haven't seen any more videos, but he does still have his whatsupinthesky.com. And he's got a whole forum there and all kinds of other stuff up there. So really, really good stuff there, right?
Yeah, he's got 700 videos on his YouTube channel. There we go. What's Up in the Sky 37. There we go.
Yep. So anyway, guys, we're going to sign off. Grand.
Yeah.
It's just an awesome hangout, as always. We were hoping this was going to technically work. I was like really blitzed out of my mind trying to make sure this thing goes right. And Jean and I both talked earlier, and we were saying, I said, let me get this thing going. For some reason, there was no audio. And he actually has half of his hair on his head because he ripped some of it out trying to figure out what was wrong on his end. And it turned out to be something on my end. So we finally got it ironed out because I'm using a recording software that I use to record, but it also goes live. The problem is, if you're using a camera, you can't use a camera on both softwares at the same time, and nor can you use a microphone in the same. So this is where it became a conflict. But we got it all ironed out, so it was a breeze to get back in here today. So I'm glad it all worked out. Great to have you on there, Jean. You know, these guys here are awesome as well. I tell them this all the time. It must sound like a broken record every time I'm on here at the end, but I can't say it enough, you know. But
that was my pleasure. It was an awesome delight. Thank you.
Yeah, and everybody's saying here, man, they'd love to have you on again, so that's awesome.
Yeah, we can do this again. I don't mind. I love it.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thanks for everybody joining us. Thank you for all the support. You guys are awesome, as always. Like I said, to me, it's like, this is not my channel anymore. This is your channel, because without you, there wouldn't be me, right? So anybody who hasn't slammed that thumbs up and thumbs like button, go ahead and do it now. We're going to jump off this. Everybody have themselves a great weekend, and be safe. Wear the mask. I know you guys don't like the mask. It sucks, but try to wear the mask. You know, let's just get this Corona BS over with so we can actually start normal living again. Yeah, all that other good stuff. Anyway, guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll see you guys in the next videos, both on his channel and mine as well. Peace, guys.
Thanks, Chris. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.